right, we are here. We are live. It has been a while. It has been a while. I'm very sorry, guys. I was two weeks ago. I was on a business trip, so I was gone all week. Didn't stream, and then last week, I yeah, had family vacation. But here we are. It's been a little while, but excited. This should be a good time. Matt Freeman, how you doing? From the UK. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. Um, yeah, for those who don't know, this is the Pinball Network. We try to provide quality content on a daily basis. So over here, you can see our schedule. With Sundays being Becca and Jordan with Hub Challenge. They're a real fun couple. They stream out of a brewery, stream a bunch of fun and unique games. Monday nights would be Hottie with Frisco Pinball. He's an awesome dude, streams from his house. He also has, he does some virtual pinball streaming if you're into that. Tuesdays would be the Pinballers. So that's Mike, Lisa, and Carter. Amazing family, very good players. Stream up in Canada. They do Tasty Tuesdays. Here we are on Wednesday with the Flippin' Out stream. I'm very grateful to be able to stream for Zach and Nicole and Greg at Flippin' Out. And so that's what we're doing here Wednesday night. Thursday night would be Chuck Wart with Straight Down the Middle. A very good player, very good with tutorials. Definitely check out the Straight Down the Middle. There's some tutorials that he's put out. And then George with Don't Panic Flip, an incredibly engaging, entertaining streamer, great player. That would be Thursday night late. And then usually Saturday, Tommy, being Jedi McMuffin, will try to stream sometime over the weekend. Also nice guy, streams with his neighbors. It's good stuff. Michael, how's it going? Life is good, man. Life is good. So there's our calendar, and we are very grateful. We do what we can. Balls of Steel. Oh, dude, that's I'm not used to seeing your Twitch. That's is it not? It's Shepherd. Is that right? I think I'm close. I should be close. Starts with an S. But he sent me a shirt. Appreciate it. Brian Kaz, how you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. But yes, we do what we do. TPN, we do what we do because we have 8 amazing sponsors. You have Comet Pinball for all your LED needs. If you need to light something up in a game, go with Sterling. Sterling. I was thinking Sterling Shepherd. Yes, my bad. Sterling. Thank you, buddy. Comet Pinball. Any of your lighting needs, check it out. Measle Mods makes some awesome mods to put in most modern games. If you own any game, check them out. They'll probably have some sort of mod for you. I was up in South Carolina for 2 weeks after. Oh, cool. Pal time. Yes, this should be a good time. Tex, by the way, TX, your quote that you said the other night is incredible. And we got to do something with it. But Scorbit, Jay and his team making a really cool board that can basically go into any pinball machine to try to connect the game to the internet. And they just announced that Scorbit will now start being in American pinball games. Jeff, Pinball Profile, hope you're doing well. Why were you at Expo? Family vacation, man. They booked it before I had a chance to say no. So family vacation was a good time. It was a good time, but I definitely missed all my friends at Expo. Stern Pinball, makers of some amazing pinball machines, including Bond. We're going to talk more about them. Family Shmame, yeah. And hopefully we get an announcement with Elwin and his Bond soon. Hopefully soon. They've said soon, so hopefully soon. Pinmonk Victor makes some amazing products. He actually just released his new flipper fan kit. It's a metal bracket. It mounts in a completely different way. I have a set on TNA that I've been testing. They work awesome. They work incredibly, incredibly well. So if you stream for a long time or play for a long time and you want to make sure that your flippers stay nice and consistent, I highly recommend the Pinmonk's flipper kits as well as the Silent Flipper mod in any modern Stern game. Flipping Out, an amazing distributor. Zach and Nicole will treat you right. If you want a new, used, or any pinball-related product, reach out to them. They will hook you up. Yes, can't say enough good things about Zach and Nicole there. Pinball Photos, they make some awesome, or take some awesome photos and make a lot of memorabilia and stuff that you can hang on your walls, pictures, posters, shower curtains, whole bunch of cool stuff. Check them out. And last but not least, Doug at Speaker Light Kit. If you look behind me, I have the Speaker Light Kits in both my Deadpool and my Turtles. They are fantastic, an amazing addition to any game. Highly recommend them. So yeah, definitely check those out. So we really appreciate our sponsors. I really appreciate the 3 gentlemen that are with me tonight to discuss pinball. And here we go. So here are it's the 4 of us. We're going to talk pinball tonight. Chat, by all means, we are reading chat. So we try to keep this as interactive and as engaging as possible. The reason I invited these 3 is all 3 of these guys were at Expo, unlike me. So lots of questions for them, thoughts on games, thoughts of what they saw at Expo. So before we dive into that, let's go around the circle. Who are you? What do you do? And what was the last game of pinball we played? So George, we'll go ahead and start with you. Muted.
I'll unmute myself.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is George. I stream normally on the channel Don't Panic Flip on Mondays and Tuesdays. On Thursdays, I'm here on the TPN channel. And the last game of pinball I played was actually a pretty half-ass match on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles last night.
Nice. Nice. I was watching your kind of interview slash playing with Dwight, and I know you had a chance to geek out on Turtles and Mando a little bit. So I know George and I are in. I feel like it's a small group, a close knit group, but small group of people that genuinely like Turtles. So I appreciate you, George, for being in that group with me. Thank you. Yep.
Cheers.
Travis will skip. Craig, why are you here? Who are you? Why are you here? Yep. Yeah.
Pass over the man in the dark room there.
Yeah. Oh, got to know.
Well, my name is.
Yeah. Go ahead, Craig.
Of course, I'm Craig Bobby. I do the Top Stories news segment on the Pinball Show with Dennis Kriesel and Zach Meny, and that generally airs every Monday on the Pinball Network. We discuss the news, market trends, game reviews, Stern production updates, lots of good stuff there that you don't hear on other podcasts generally. So the last, I'm going to talk about really quickly, two games that I happened to play because I was, of course, at the Pinball Olympics at Expo, and I got a chance to play a couple of very unique games there that I hadn't seen before in the wild. One of them being Safecracker.
Yeah.
And George, I don't know if you noticed Safecracker there in the hallway of one of the rooms in Pinball Expo. Did you see it?
No, I did not.
Yes. So it was right outside so picture this. This house was very unassuming when you see it and walk up to it. It looks like I'd say a nice home, but a home in the suburbs, and you would not guess that it is absolutely filled with pinball machines when you walk in the door. And they have them, some are inside, some are outside, most of them are inside. And basically, 2 floors jam-packed with machines. The house feels like it goes on and on. Anyway, we're waiting to get into one of the rooms, which is a smaller room. Some of the themes get a bit adult at the Pinball Olympics,
yeah.
and they have sort of what they called an X-rated room with a couple different machines in there. So as we were waiting to get into this room, because it was quite small, it was probably, I don't know, a 9x9 room or something. So it could only hold about 4 or 5 people at a time. So, oh, there goes my Avengers in behind me. Anyway, as we're waiting to get into this room, we noticed the Safecracker machine sitting right outside. I didn't realize it was Safecracker at first until I started to play it. But it is a really interesting little game, and I looked it up on Todd Tuckey's YouTube channel, and he did on episode 12, I think it was 1222, if you're going to look for it, because it's very entertaining. He goes over Safecracker, and I didn't realize it was a game designed by Pat Lawler back in the day. It came out in 1996. There were only 1,148 made, according to Todd Tuckey. And at the time, it did not go over very well with the industry. It was the late 90s. Pinball wasn't selling very well. Circus Voltaire came out around the same time. And this was apparently their idea with this game to try and do a redemption game in pinball, believe it or not. So this game actually has 2 tubes in the back box that spit out these coins, which gave you a code to play video games like Mortal Kombat. So they were trying to get the kids off the video terminals and playing some pinball, and then as a reward, then they could go back to playing video games. Anyway, and at the time, this game was worth $1,600 that it retailed for, and they couldn't give them away, apparently. It's a cute little machine, so it's only 19 inches wide versus a standard pinball, which is about 22, 23. A standard pinball machine is 54. This machine's only 44. So it fit perfectly in this little hallway. And unfortunately, the game looks beautiful, but it plays brutally, like brutally. And as I recall, the flippers are quite small, and there were a lot of down the middle drains. But it was a really interesting dot matrix, display game, and we had a lot of fun playing it. It was probably some of the shortest games we played because, again, it plays brutally hard. So if you like fast games, man, this is and don't like standing around waiting for your turn. This is the game. We probably blew through 4 balls in about 2 minutes flat. Like it's that brutal. So you can see in the picture that Joel's showing there, they shipped with these wings that are on the side as well. That apparently it's just wood on the side of the back box, and they could be removed. And apparently most owners do remove them. I believe the one we played in the house was they were removed. But they look sort of mirrored, but in fact they're just mirrored stickers, and then they do the wings with chrome trim a lot around them as well. Anyway, a really unique looking game. I thought one of the loser kids that we were with at the time said that the theme was originally supposed to be Monopoly. I'm not sure. There's the tubes in the back that hold the coins. But a really interesting, almost a novelty type game when you see it, because it is so short compared to a normal pinball machine, but something really unique for a collection. I'd certainly, if money was no option, I would certainly own one of them, because they're just that, I just found it that entertaining and unique. It's jam-packed with stuff in there. I mean, Pat really loaded this thing up. Have you guys played it? Has anyone played it here in the stream? Travis?
Go ahead, Travis.
Sorry, Joel.
No.
I have. Yes.
Oh, I thought he was muted. Dang
What'd you
No,
think?
I'm not muted. I'm just waiting my turn to talk, Joel. I feel comfortable interrupting you, but not Craig and George.
Yeah, that's respectful. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Craig. Go ahead. Sorry, Joel.
No, go ahead. No,
not
wait.
being
I'm just
considerate.
curious
share
about
your
thought.
experience, Travis.
Joel, you're still interrupting Craig, Joel. Okay. All right. Everybody take a breather for a second. All right, Craig, what were you asking me now? Sorry.
What were your thoughts on it when you played it?
It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, everybody. That's
I mean,
having Travis on a podcast.
It's a different game. It's
Yeah.
So I've played it in tournaments before, and it's a different game. I mean, I'm not very familiar with the rule set too much, but I guess there's just a certain amount of game time that you can play. I'm trying to remember, because it's been a couple of years since I played it, but I could have swore. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you'll feel like you're jamming on some shots, and it's entertaining watching people thinking that they're doing really well, and then all of a sudden the game's just like, nope, you're done. And then just the mass confusion just hit their faces. So yeah, I mean, it's funny because in that way, it's almost like I've seen people play this out on location and they get really frustrated because of that, because they don't understand the functionality of the game.
I know they had one at TPF, and George, wasn't it? It's your buddy Paul, right? The other Paul with the light up shoes. Like, that was his goal, was to play it until he got a token, and he did it. And then it became like a goal of his daily. Like, daily, I want to get a token. And he was all over it. I think he walked away with 2 of them.
Well, he gave me one of the tokens because I didn't get an opportunity to play it, and then I told him I didn't feel like it was. I can't have the token. I gotta earn it for myself, so that way I can hold on to it. But I kept it anyways.
And wasn't the thought that you could, like, if you got it, you could like redeem the token, like here, like redeem it for a beer or something? Or I mean, the point of the token was to redeem it for something. It wasn't just to take it home.
Don't you redeem it for the wizard mode?
I mean, I was saying, like, if an operator bought it, I thought there was like the reason. I mean, like Craig was saying, it's supposed to be a redemption game. So CNK here, to play a super game. Oh, so you just put it right back in?
Yes, Joel.
Oh, well,
that is what she said.
Oh, wow. Put it right back. Assault on the vault. Cool. Guys, don't feed him. Okay.
What?
Right.
You're setting it up.
No, Craig. So yes, I'm glad you had a chance to play. It's a very unique game.
So it was very fun.
Unique game. Yes. So, well, yeah. Well, thank you, Craig. Thanks for being here tonight.
Fun to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And Travis, I mean, you can go obviously, but no, Travis, well, you introduce yourself. I don't
No, I want to hear what you have to say.
Travis,
if you're going to introduce me, I want to hear it.
He's one of the top 3 hosts of Triple Drain. He's wearing a wonderful hoodie. If you want to stand up real quick, check this out. Travis, we have merch now. Triple Drain has merch, and I thought
promotion.
Yeah, I bought I bought some of the original Triple Drain merch. Tom bought some of the original Triple Drain merch. Travis never did, and luckily we've sold enough of the current Triple Drain merch that with our earnings, Travis was able to get a hoodie. So I was excited that now Travis is finally supporting our podcast, even though he's yet to financially actually contribute to the podcast. So Mama Loves Pinball. I'm currently wearing the Triple Drain hoodie. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank
you for
you.
the support. Yeah. But that's enough. That's all the intro you're getting. Travis, who are you? What do you do? We know you don't do it well. And what was the last game of pinball you played?
I'm Travis. I work in the pinball industry doing pinball stuff.
Mhm.
And the last pinball game I played was, oh gosh, I guess technically Rush a day ago. But then before that, it was playing Led Zeppelin and getting my soul absolutely crushed by Jared to finish off my tournament. So, yep, still got PTSD from that.
Perfect. So you didn't start the night with just a fun-filled game of Toy Story?
Not as bad as Tom's PTSD.
No.
No? You didn't?
No. I
Be
haven't played
honest.
Toy Story in a while.
That's what I was going to say. Be honest, Travis. When was the last time you put a game on Toy Story? Yeah.
I mean, it's been a little while.
Yeah.
My kids play
your
it
kids
though.
love
My
though.
wife
Yeah.
plays it. Yeah, they played it last week. So there you go. I
Uh,
played Rush. Like I told, so what I did was I texted Raymond and I was just like, look.
Ray just showed up in chat.
Oh,
with the-
perfect. So he can
clarinet.
confirm my
Yeah.
story then. I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm going to play a game and I'm just going to spam right ramp and right spinner the whole time
Yeah.
and just see what happens. And so I played like a hour-long ball one on Rush, just doing nothing but that, thinking I was just going to like blow up the bonus because it goes up to 25x. But I literally only got up to 8x. So I have confirmed there's no bonus strategy on Rush. There's no way to exploit that no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're much better off building up records and just playing the game like a normal person would.
Well, Ray Day here in chat comes in with the music notes. I will tell you, in the car, my son, my 2-year-old, he wanted to watch Toy Story. So over the weekend, that's what was playing in the van as we were driving around. So I listened to Toy Story probably 2 or 3 times. And I'll tell you, every time the "You Got a Friend in Me" song came up, like it literally gave me like, ugh. Like you hear that song so much in the game that it's kind of ruined it in the movie for me, which is bummer. But yeah, and I appreciate Joshua R here. Hey, I know all these guys. 3 are pretty awesome. 1 is okay. I'll let you decide. Thank you for that comment. Appreciate that. Nobody's pointing fingers, Travis. Okay.
I know what he's saying.
He said, "I'll let you
know.
decide." Okay.
I read.
Yeah.
I've decided. I read between the lines. I
Okay.
decided.
Yeah. And yeah, my name's Joel. I do this stream every Wednesday night. I stream for Flipping Out every other Thursday, and then I do the Triple Drain Pinball podcast with Travis and Tom. So. Yeah, last game of pinball I actually played Little Turtles with my brother. He was over here earlier than that. He was bummed. He thought we were streaming tonight. I was like, nah, chatting stream. Sorry, Jared. So had to send him home. But 3 heads are better than 1. Yeah, Craig, I liked your back to... Yeah, Craig, you had some amazing shirts on, by the way, at Expo. All your shirts picked. So
Well, thank you.
well done. Okay, well, let's just dive right in. Expo. There was a lot that was shown with precision. Thank you, Mango. There was a lot that was shown at Expo. So maybe that, hey, Mango, you said it, not me. Did anybody happen to play? There was a Deadpool at Expo that had the metal flippers, that had the precision flipper kit. I know Travis is already done. Did George or Craig, did either of you have a chance to play it?
No.
No? Okay. Well,
No, I didn't, but I did see the precision flipper
kit.
booth
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I saw the guy selling it. I quickly walked by. I didn't want to make eye contact with any of them. I kept walking.
Cause I saw your metal flippers, Joel. They did play nice. Why don't you tell? I'm just waiting for people to have an experience. That's all I'm asking. We don't have to go too far into it. We can keep moving. Saul, disappointed in American Pinball. Yes, American Pinball's in a weird spot. What they did, did you guys see? It was Arcade Hollywood on YouTube. Just posted, I think it was yesterday, they actually filmed an entire factory tour of American Pinball. Did the 3 of you guys see it? Have you watched that video yet? No?
No. Was it good?
So Craig, did you see it? Am I the
I
only
did
one
not.
that see it? Okay. So
No, you got to sell all of us. You're the only one
No,
on
it's-
this whole
Yeah.
entire stream that's watched it. So sell us all on it. We
my
want to hear about it.
takeaway in chat, let me know if I'm wrong, but my takeaway was I was surprised with how few people seem to work at that company. And it just like you walk in and it's like David Fix's office and he's like, out here is the R&D department. And it's like 4 booths.
It's all making sense
Yeah,
now. It's all making
and the
sense.
people that were interviewed were all the people you know. Ryan, so Dave Fix, Ryan, the Sonic Spinball guy. What's her name?
He's looking around like, where is everybody?
The female engineer. I forget. She has a unique name. I forget what it is. Dennis Nordman was there. Steve Bowden, and they asked Steve like, "What do you do?" And he rattles off like 18 things he does. Sophia. Yep. So they interviewed that. Then there's like a dude in shipping. There was a guy. I mean, it's like, I'm just used to when you see the Stern factory tours and you see
You're really
just,
selling us on this video.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Just saying,
I'd
there's
say
a
go ahead and
dude in
watch it.
shipping on it.
But that's what
and-
I'm saying is, in my mind, I thought American Pinball was a lot bigger than they were. But
Mhm.
once you see this video, it almost seems like American Pinball is smaller than like Spooky. Like,
Well, maybe they
it's-
didn't want to show everything.
But I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
But when you
Maybe.
have when you see like Stern or JJP even, it's like every single Stern, it seems like every single playfield has a person standing over it, screwing something in or soldering something, and it's just go. Like it just seems like it's just go.
But is that really a fair comparison though? This is like comparing
No.
the Loser Kid Pinball podcast to Triple Drain. I mean,
Oh, wow.
come on.
God.
Come on.
So
I mean,
I would
Obviously,
say
Loser Kid is so much better. So
I definitely want people to watch it. I definitely want people to watch the video because it's cool to see the behind the scenes. But it's just, that's the first time that I've seen any behind the scenes of American Pinball like that.
Mhm.
And I was surprised that like the shipping area, they're like, we're about to ship out some games. It looked like they're about to ship out like 7 games. I mean, it's not.
Did you not do the factory tour at Expo last year?
I did not. No, I was there. I came a day late, but I would love to. Like, I would love to see this stuff. So it's just, I'm not. I will say, like, I've had a Hot Wheels. I know George had a Hot Wheels and hated it. He hated the game. It's the only game I know I've ever watched George stream where he genuinely could not hit a shot. It was, I don't know what it was. It was like your kryptonite, George. It just did not. I don't know, man. Yeah.
I could never find a shot on that game.
Yeah.
So what was the purpose of the video? Was it just to show off the factory, or was it
exactly.
to show off the workforce?
It
Or
was the same thing. I mean, Stern did a virtual factory tour. JJP did one in person, and I think American Pinball was like, well, we'll do a virtual tour. And they did. But I just feel like the video, I mean, they're actually making games. I mean, it's like it's there. It's just my main takeaway from the video. This discussion would be a lot better if, the 3 of you guys had seen it. But my main takeaway from the video.
Nowhere in the show notes does it say,
there's no show notes
guys,
for
let's
this.
Talk about American Pinball.
Yes, there is. We have like literally all the things to read.
There's
You
no
even put etc. Yes, there is.
There's no show
Today
notes.
You put them at 7:49 a.m. in the Discord.
Did I? Did I actually?
Craig, George?
I think I did. I actually wrote just a few games. Okay, fine. It's me.
Okay, there we
But
go.
imagine giving a talk with 30 or 40 people and they're only
Here's-
catching half your words. They're saying the audio was bad.
Was the audio just not good?
Yeah, Stern Tour was great. Jack Danger, I love Craig. Bobby Stern. Yeah, Craig, you're on factory tour next time. I would just chat. If anybody in chat's seen it, please tell me I'm not an idiot or I'm not. But my main takeaway was American Pinball seems like a smaller operation than I had in my mind. That's all I'm saying.
What
And
size did you think that they were?
Well,
I thought they would. I
Bigger.
thought American Pinball was closer to JJP than they are to Spooky.
yeah.
But after seeing it, no, it looks like they're closer to Spooky size than they are to JJP. That's my
Interesting.
My yes.
Okay.
I'll tell you one general thing I noticed about not to hype on American Pinball or beat on American Pinball, but I noticed this with a lot of vendors at Expo. This is one of the not beefs, and this is a very minor critique. So what I liked about Expo, humongous open vendor / manufacturer area where distributors and the manufacturers are all put in one humongous room, right? Awesome. So tons of ambient noise, a lot of action, a lot of good energy in that room. What I didn't like about it is that it was very hard, I found, other than a few vendors, and I'm going to tell you who they were. Jersey Jack, Stern Pinball, Flippin' Out Pinball had a humongous display. Beyond those guys, though, I found it shockingly unimpressive the amount of money that these companies are actually putting into their own display booths. So here they are at one of the largest expos or pinball conventions in the world, and I can't tell where American Pinball booth is. I can't, when I look out
Yeah.
across the sea of stuff, I can't tell where Chicago Gaming Pinball is. I actually walked the show. I walked right past their booths 2 or 3 times before I could figure out where they actually were, because they don't even have big displays up saying, here we are at American Pinball. They haven't put any money, I feel like, into it. They haven't put any time, thought. So I was really disappointed, actually, about the messages they were conveying to the rest of the pinball community to actually put themselves on display, I thought, in the most positive way. I thought it was very nondescript and like very plain. They didn't even do anything for the homebrew guys either in that way. I walked right past their thing
Yeah.
about 3 or 4 times until Jeff actually took me over there and said, "Hey, you got to come see the homebrew stuff. It's the best thing in the show." I'm like, well, "Where the hell are they?" because again, other than JJP, Stern, you can't find, and flipping out, because there they are with a, Zach's done it right. He's got a humongous banner that's probably 30 feet by 20 feet. It's humongous. And you can see it from anywhere in the show. Very smart. No one else is doing that, though, which I found quite shocking considering how many people are walking around that show. So that was my only little sort of marketing critique that I had about the show, and I thought everybody could have done a lot better on that front, again, beyond Stern and JJP, who had humongous booths. JJP's was probably half the size of Stern, but they had a very well thought out booth. It was very modern, and that's I'm giving full credit, I'm assuming, to Ken Cromwell and other folks on that team that put that together, and they did it right. Like huge displays. They were displaying Scorbit and all the stuff that was going on there, and other things, just marketing stuff that they were throwing up. Anyway, I'll stop talking. But what did you guys think, George and Travis, when you walked out into Expo? What were your sort of general thoughts about what was going on there?
Travis, go ahead, man.
Well, when I did get to see it, I was happy to see everybody and the free beer and all that. That was awesome. I enjoyed those parts of it. But yeah, I mean, I spent most of my time in the tournament area. So really the only time I got to go out there was just to meet you guys for like 20 minutes, just what was it, on a Thursday, I think, or Friday. And so, I mean, I didn't really get to see all that much, but I went out, I guess, around 11 or midnight till about 2 on Saturday. And so, I mean, it was cool overall. The vibe that I really enjoyed with it compared to TPF is the fact that everything was open.
Yeah.
And you could see like everything. Nothing was cut off by curtains or anything like that. So I
Very
like
good.
that as well. Hopefully TPF takes note and allows them to do that, just because it would just feel like you're not so much in just one section and just kind of like, being herded to the next area of TPF or anything like that. But no, I liked how open it was. Another thing I really liked, I liked how all the EMs that were there, I think they were basically Rob Burke's personal collection. They all played great.
Yes.
And that was really surprising because it's very rare at any of these shows that you find EMs that are playing as they're expected to be played. So that was really cool. And then of course, I think, so I'm not sure, was it Stern or was it Tilt Amusements that had all the games that were out off to the side with like the James Bond and all that? I'm not sure which one, if that was the Stern booth or the Tilt Amusements booth. I couldn't remember, but I mean, that was cool, just having all those Sterns that were over by there. And then of course I really enjoyed the homebrews in the back too. There was one homebrew there. I can't pronounce the name at all, but it's like a cross between Spanish Eyes and TNA nearly. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it, but that was a lot of fun. I was very surprised at how good that game was.
Yeah, we can dive a little more into that. But just to finish Craig's statement, I mean, George, do you have any? So your percent, like I know at least Expo last year, Stern, huge presence. JJP, huge presence. American Pinball actually had a decent presence, but it was just because they had a lot of games and then like 2 banners. But then like P3, boom, just 2 tiny machines. Spooky was pretty small.
They were way in the back as well.
Yeah,
I was really surprised about that. I mean, they were tucked in there with the homebrews, and you had to hunt to find those guys.
Yeah, George, I don't know. What were your thoughts?
So, it was a huge improvement over last year. Last year, they had put all of the games that people brought over in one area, and then there was this massive waste of space in between the vendor area and the area where people brought their own games, and these like booths where people were selling things.
Yep.
And this time they spread it all out. There was a little bit of personal brought games over here, other games brought over there, a distributor, an actual manufacturer. I thought the layout worked really, really well. American Pinball, it's hard to find them. Spooky, I didn't find out till Saturday that Spooky was even there.
Oh, wow.
P3 didn't show, but a couple of P3 games were there under some other heading. So there
You're
was
right. Under a distributor had them. You're right.
Well, I know.
right.
I didn't even realize Spooky was even there, to be honest with
Exactly.
you. Where were they at?
They were if you are looking at the event, they were on the left wall, almost all the way towards the back, like where the shipping bay was.
Oh my God. I was even back in that area too to get a game, and I didn't even notice it.
Exactly.
C&K in chat, layout was a mess, but it worked. Check. It's like, I mean, it sounds, I mean, the way it was structured last year seemed very like there was a fun area, and then that was closed off at a certain point, and then it was everything else. So I'm glad they at least mixed and matched.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, one comment you said, I hope TPF learns from this. I hope that this continues to be like they both grow and they both learn in this. So, but I don't know. It's a shame. And unfortunately, yes, I see in chat people are talking about some of the stuff that was stolen. That sucks. There's no denying that. And yeah, just to wrap up my last little bit, because we've got so much to talk about tonight. I'm excited. But my last little bit about American, they were showing off their 3D printer farm, and they were pretty excited about that. Like multiple minutes of how Ryan is like, this is my job, is to manage our 3D printer farm. I just don't think that's I don't know. Sorry, but like 3D printed parts in a professional machine is not something I'd be stoked about. In my opinion, I don't know. I just feel like it's not as professional. And then like, here's their loading dock. I mean, that's it. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 10 games, 10 or 11 games. I mean, it just, everything's a lot smaller. Everything's a lot smaller than I was expecting. But to their credit, I mean, they're making games, they're coming out. The only reason I'm saying a little disappointed is I'm Galactic Tank for Force, baby. I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready to be Galactic Tank Forced. I'm ready. It's gonna be great. But watch this video. Arcade Hollywood did a really good job.
Get patient.
Yeah,
that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming out anytime soon. That's the out the door area. There's a staging area in the larger room. Okay, Wind Raider. Hey, that's fine. And maybe it's just, I'm just saying my takeaway from watching this video, as I had yet to see everything, is it just seems like a smaller operation than I was originally thinking. That's all.
It's a little boutique-y. Boutique-y.
I just saw Dennis's comment on the loading dock.
Baby's first loading dock.
Dennis
is great. All right,
but I will say this before you get off there,
go.
because I don't want to sound too negative about it. It was a ton of fun, having said all of those little critiques about the thing, and it's really about the people there. There were so many fun people, and that's I thought the best thing about Expo was, in fact, the people. Everybody from media providers to the manufacturers, and everyone's very open and friendly generally. Travis aside, when he's not coming in his tournaments.
Yeah, that's the curse Travis has of winning too much. He can't hang out with everybody. Yeah. Feel bad.
But I would highly recommend it. And I think it sounds like, although I wasn't there last year, I thought they made some amazing improvements. And it was more what I had envisioned in my head about Expo being, which is just a massive, massive room, jam-packed with lots of fun games. There was certainly no end of things to see and look at, and no end of people to talk to in there either. Like I thought the crowds were very good. That place could eat up a ton of people. So the nice thing about it is you weren't jammed in. Like I've heard stories about TPF, the ceilings are lower. There's not as much space, so you're kind of sometimes you're jostling with people. I didn't feel that at all, hardly, unless you were in the Stern booth trying to get at Bond or one of their games. So I thought that was great too. Everyone could kind of spread out a little bit, and yet it was still a lot of fun.
100%. What I would recommend, all of chat or anybody that's listening to this afterwards, I've been to both Expo and TPF. They were both awesome. And the truth is, the reason they're awesome is because of the people. So
Hmm.
even if you see us, any of the content creators, come say hi. Like everybody in that room is obsessed
Yeah,
with
very
pinball
open and receptive.
and
Yeah.
wants to enjoy it. So it's just like you are in a room surrounded by people that love the same hobby as you. It's so much fun. So that's
Hmm.
I mean, that's why I didn't even have complaints about last year, because one, it was my first. I didn't know what to compare it to. But two, it's just like the people are still there. And that's what I loved.
Hmm.
And that's what I missed. But
And I will say too, the convention center they had it in was excellent as well. I thought it was like a much nicer place than I thought it was going to be, which was a pleasant surprise. The hotel I thought the lobby was beautiful, very
yeah.
modern and open. The rooms were nice. I thought the convention center itself was very well laid out. You're walking a little bit, but it's all carpeted, and I thought it was fine. So yeah, I really like that location actually.
Yeah. Thumbs up all around. But yeah, so yes, Expo's a good time. But let's go ahead. Let's dive in
Yep.
on one of these games. So we'll go ahead and start with Bond. We'll start with Bond.
Hmm.
I obviously haven't played it. I watched the stream. I watched Jack's reveal stream. It did look like the code has come a little ways further than some of the other leaked footage that we saw. It looks like
Hmm.
it's shot well. Those were kind of the only takeaways I was getting from the stream. It looks like George Gomez was kind of quick to point out, like, this is a placeholder. This isn't finished.
Hmm.
And the last little nugget, it sounds like I read on Pinside that somebody walked up to a Bond that was at Expo, and it was turned off, and they decided to turn it on. So they turned it on, and in the process of turning on a Stern game, you get to see what version of code. And I'm pretty sure if I read it right, I think he said Bond code is currently 0.54
Yeah.
out of 100. So 0.54 out of 1.0. So it's barely over halfway there. And so I just, we've all talked about this. We've all talked about Lonnie and the way that he codes games. It usually takes quite a
Hmm.
while. So I don't want to be too harsh on the code, because I think we're pretty much bare bones. But let's just go around the circle. I'm assuming all three
Hmm.
of you have played it. George, if you want to go first, what were your initial impressions of Bond? And did you get any real difference between the pro and premium?
So I got to put about 20 games on the Pro. The lines actually weren't that bad. That was a huge plus I think, about Expo, was the lines weren't that bad. But still, there was always typically 5 people in line for the premium. So I never played the premium.
Okay.
But I played the Pro a lot. And it's a pinball game.
All right.
It's nothing great. Like, it's functional. It feels a little bit like it feels a little bit like Deadpool, but less fun. It doesn't have, and I'm just talking about the layout, not the rules. I
Sure.
assume
Sure.
that's going to come along and it's going to be awesome. And because it's Lonnie, it's going to become a little like, it's going to become like Guardians, and people are really going to love it for competitive play. I'm just talking about the layout and the fun factor of shooting it. And it didn't do anything unique. But it was fun in that it had some decent flow. And once I found the shots, it was enjoyable. But I'm not a big 007 fan. Maybe if the theme was something else, I'd enjoy it more. But I don't think it really brought anything unique or new to the table. And yeah,
So
it will not be in my collection.
you're only judging it off the pro, but you're saying it's not like there was, like, shot wise, you're saying there wasn't anything that just blew you away. That's what you're saying. I mean, it was.
There's no satisfying shot on it. Like when you think of Deadpool and you hit that katana, that katana lock, or it maybe even if you snicked or something like that.
Okay.
All of that is kind of like an aha. When you play Jurassic Park, hitting the O shot or hitting that like 6 or 7 hit combo where you're just looping things and you get that flow going, it feels awesome. I would even say no, I'm not going to go with Turtles. Turtles is weird that I like it. There's no justification for
It's
it.
so good. Yeah.
But those are things you really like on Godzilla, the layout even on the Pro is fantastic. I have no idea where the ball's going to go at any time because the ball could wildly go out of control and hit like 3 different loops that end up sending it like reverse shatzing by itself from one in lane out. I don't know what to do with that.
Okay.
And I love it, but none of that exists in this game. None of it. It just feels like the under the left flipper, it ends up slowing the game down a bunch. when you end up hitting that shot. It was kind of fun because it's kind of a hard shot to hit, so it forces you to like shoot under and slap the ball back down to get it to go in.
Harder or easier than the layer shot in Turtles?
It is easier than that layer shot, but only because for some reason because there's so much room, it's like it hits, bounces down, and comes back up, so you can slap it down if you drop it appropriately.
Okay.
And the left orbit to like the full wraparound, most satisfying shot, but only because of the sound and the fact that the ball travels so long. So it's a game, and if you're a big 007 fan, I'm sure it's going to be great. The rule set will probably make it awesome, but I don't know.
So if you compare, you're saying we just compare it to the recent games. Like, I know you're a fan of Rush, obviously you're a fan of Godzilla. You're just saying the kinetic satisfaction that you felt in the initial few games. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but you know what I'm asking. Like,
non-existent.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So
did you happen to see the bond on the wand activate, George? Because I never saw it go in the games that I was playing.
And the wand activate?
Like the bond that's on that.
The jetpack.
Bond on a wand. The jetpack guy.
No, I never played the premium. So I only played the pro.
So
maybe the premium is a wildly different game.
So Travis has played both. So Travis, I'm curious, do you agree with what George is saying? Because I know you had hinted at you've played both and you actually prefer the pro. But yeah, so go ahead, Travis. What are we thinking here?
Well, I agree with George. It is a pinball machine. Yeah. So here's the thing. So Bond, it's tough to say because you have to judge this game on several different fronts. So if you're going to judge it on theme, I can't do that because the most I've ever seen James Bond is like 2 minutes worth of YouTube clips. So I'm not familiar with the theme at all. I've seen Austin Powers like 3 times, and I guess that's kind of like it, but I have no clue.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
so
totally
so I know everything about this theme. Rules wise, it's just there's nothing there right now. You can tell that there's a lot of placeholders. There's some stuff in like the multi-ball rules that I'm not necessarily a fan of that looks like that they're doing early on, such as hitting the side ramp just to extend your multi-ball, and then I guess all shots being worth 1x, and then you can just save it back and hit another 2x or whatever have you. So I can't really judge the rules at this point. It's just way too early. So the only thing I have to really go off of is the layout and how it feels. And so this pen, for me, it's weird. It's like, because I play both the premium and the pro. Honestly, the premium doesn't really do anything extra for me to where I think, okay, I have to have this pen over the pro. I mean, it has the physical lock. And then it has the bond on a wand.
Yeah. So on the premium, right in this area, there's a diverter that kicks out. So when you go to lock a ball for this multi-ball, it spits it up here in a spot. It has the bond jetpack that'll swing out. And then over here, it's just decorative, but it's like a clear thing. And there's some stuff down there. And that's it, right?
And there's still some confusing stuff too. Are you on? I can't tell with yours. Are you on the premium right now? Or are you on the pro? Yeah. So go to the premium real quick, and I'll show you what kind of confuses me about one of the decisions that they made. You can go to the play field, and when you see this, you can't unsee it, unfortunately. So I apologize ahead of time, stream. Okay, so zoom in on the spaceship dildo, please.
Unfortunately, I'm not. This is not the best video or the best picture of this.
Well,
I want that, but
go to This Week in Pinball, Joel. You can go there and you'll find it.
Talk amongst yourself.
All right, we all get to see Joel's search history now. It's gonna be awesome. I'm glad the 3 of us were prepared for this.
Well, I wasn't. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is
Your show notes said we were going to talk about
There's
Bond.
no show. Okay.
You're in charge of all this.
Yeah. Who invited Travis?
People deserve better than this, Joel. I'm so sorry.
People know what they signed up for. That's what I'm saying. All right. There we go.
So all right. What do you notice that's behind the spaceship?
It's this tower, but it just
What's directly behind the tower?
Behind the tower?
Yeah.
Like
directly behind it.
The
what is
back
that?
There's a plastic there that has words that's basically saying hit here for this, but it's completely covered up.
Complete something for bird something.
Right. You can't tell what it is because it's just sitting there covered up
Okay.
by the mech. So that right there, like it's little details like that for me, like my OCD
So you're
just
saying
drives me
once
nuts
once
because
you
it's
see it,
supposed
you
to be
can't
there to
unsee
get
it, but
right
you're saying
because
you really can't ever see it.
well, it's supposed to be there for you to get information, right?
Oh yeah,
So it's
it's not on
like,
the Pro.
yeah. So I have no clue why that's there. So that's kind of confusing.
Hmm.
The Bond on a wand thing. So there were some people speculating, and this is before the reveal that
Thanks, Wind Raider.
yeah,
We waited 5
exactly.
minutes to hear that. It didn't take
You
that
know,
long to find the picture. Okay. Yeah.
so but I'm getting to a point here. So now that you see that, right, that's like a little detail that I'm just kind of like, okay, why do that?
Yeah.
And then when you look at the Bond on a wand thing, well, you don't actually control that at all. You don't
Yet.
control when it drops.
Yet.
But there's nowhere else for it to go though, Joel. Like as
I
soon as
agree.
it goes all the way over,
Yeah.
that wire form is right there. It can't go any farther or any further than what it does at the target. Like as soon as it's at the target, that's as far as it
So it
basically will go.
physically can't go any further past the tank.
No, unless they change it around. We were looking at it and trying to see the angle, and we were wondering if it would go past it. It did not look like it could go past it.
Because
From
I
our
mean,
angle.
it wouldn't make sense to have it be able to go past it and then drop a ball in this wire form. Because then you're just getting locks for a totally different multi-ball. But
Right. No,
I-
it was right up against the wire form. It wasn't over it. It was going right up towards it. So
in the Dead Flip stream, they said down the road it should be a user controlled, and I don't know if it's like it'll just be a moving thing, like a timing thing, and then the user will like have to hit the button at the right point
Yeah.
to hit this target.
and I
But you're
hope they can
right,
do
there's-
that
yeah.
because it wasn't in there, and that was disappointing because then it just felt like okay, it just looked like Bond was just kind of crapping out a pinball
Yeah.
in the middle of the play field. Like you don't know any better that it's attached to a jetpack when you're watching it. So but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, so those are the things right there that were added on. Everything else, I mean, it didn't really matter to me that you could see, I guess, a scuba diver Bond
This-
underneath
yeah,
the
down here.
left side like that. I
Yeah.
never saw that at all. So
So you're
know,
Team
those-
Pro just because these added mechs just don't.
they just don't, as of right now, I didn't feel like they added anything. Now, I will say the car mech to the right with
Yeah.
the Vuck,
Yeah.
that's actually pretty cool just because it happens so fast.
Mhm.
I mean, the pins that I played is really reliable. It wasn't clunky. I mean, it was quick. It was done. You got the ball back. So I like that part about it.
Yep.
Now, when we're just talking about the layout in general, it's so crazy. It's like the tale of two pins. The left side, it's just really awkward for me. Really, really awkward. Like the left orbit through the spinner all the way back around, that's fun to hit. But after that, it's just like I'm not really having a fun time hitting those drop targets where they're at. And the left shot behind the upper flipper or
Right here.
underneath the upper flipper,
Yeah.
that's like I never aimed for it one time.
Yeah,
throughout
Chad said you like
all the games.
mistakenly fall in there a lot.
Yeah, you mistakenly fall
Mhm.
into it a lot.
Yeah.
And then what happens is the ball just kind of gets shot back out into the play field
Yeah.
and then it's back out of control again. So it's kind of like I just don't understand why it's there necessarily.
There's no
Um,
targets over here, right? So it's like
No.
So the game really
No.
doesn't
falls in
know
there.
whether or not you shot it like
No, and there was-
purposely or if it falls in. It just
And there was a couple of times too, Joel. I watched a few people that the game was just out for blood. It would go into that scoop, it would eject right back, hit off a post or something, and just come screaming right back down the middle, and then the ball was done.
So
Mhm.
good question, but or a good statement because one of the takeaways that I saw from the stream was and maybe they just weren't holding down the left flipper or what, but every single time they plunged, it was always plunging up here into the pops. So they were trying to hit a skill shot. But this feed out of the pops, that ball went straight over here to the left every time on the Jack Danger dead flip stream. It went straight over here out to the left, would hit the top of this sling, and sometimes just bounce straight out. So there
Yeah,
was like
it-
5 or 6
Mhm.
drains I saw in the first 45 minutes of watching the game that
Yeah.
like they didn't even touch the ball never got
And-
to a flipper.
But it did depend on how the game was set up because one of the games I played, it was feeding directly to the left end lane.
Okay.
too. So a lot of that just depends on game setup, I'd have to think.
Well, the last thing you
Mhm.
want though is like I know I had an avatar, and the avatar there's a pop nest in the middle, and the ball feeds straight out of the middle. And Stern had to release a fix where it was an extra spring because the
Right.
ball would just feed straight down the middle, off the plunge, and you never
Right.
even touch the game. So I don't know. I
Yep.
was just sensitive to that. Where the last thing you want is
Yeah.
for people to never
Yeah.
even be able to flip the ball. Go ahead, George.
So I would. Oh, go ahead, George. You got something to add?
He rose his hand. I saw it.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I just wanted to add that another thing that's kind of uniquely different about this is where's the thing that makes it George Gomez? Where's the there's no weird shot that requires you to go up the lock. It doesn't have the crazy mech from Batman 66 that rotates and provides all these different things. It's not Corvette, which is just filled with all of the most unique, crazy shots all over the place. It's not the shots that don't actually work unless you fix the game in Avengers, the first version. It almost feels like he took the negative feedback personally and created a safe game.
Well,
but maybe that's a harsh judgment.
The thing that stood out to me when I saw these pictures initially was, and Pinmonk said it, this two-way ramp. How does that feel? I mean, is this from the left upper flipper? Is that a fun shot? I mean, or this shot between the? I mean, how is this right over there?
That was the other part I was going to touch. This is why it feels like two completely different pins to me.
Okay,
the left side, yeah, the left side is like, well, I'm not quite sure. The right side was fun. I mean, that first right ramp on the far side, it can be tough to hit. I mean, because it is in kind of an awkward area.
You're saying this villain mode's ramp.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Okay. I saw some people struggling with that. Now, the shot in between the ramps is a lot of fun because that ball can get around quick. So that is a fun combo going through there and going to the side ramp. That's probably the most fun combo in the entire game.
So this orbit shot, if you hit this ramp to the right, what are you hitting? Is there a scoop over here? Like if you miss it, what do you hit?
Yeah, there's a not a scoop, but basically, I guess you can call it a scoop. That's where the vuck is, where it comes back up to the car. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. And then we discovered something. If you're trapped up from the left flipper, you can hit the side ramp. We confirmed that. We did it. Yep. We did it on every single copy. So the shot's super tight, but if you time it just right, it has enough speed to where it will go up there.
That's got to like bang its way up there.
Oh yeah. It's not pretty. I mean, I'm not saying it's a smooth shot, but I mean, kind of like how, remember when Stern claimed that the upper flipper could make the center ramp in Led Zeppelin?
Yeah.
Right. This was actually easier to do than that.
I did it one time. The whole time I was streaming Led Zeppelin without a borrow from Zach, I actually hit it one time. And it blew my mind.
So it is possible, but there were a few times too when we were hitting the side ramp from the upper flipper that sometimes it didn't go around. Instead, it kind of got stuck or just kind of bounced around and then came back down the right side. That did happen a few times.
Okay. So feeding the left flipper though, because it looks like there's multiple shots from the left flipper. Obviously, the safe bet is just straight up the middle with this lock shot and then boom. But otherwise, if the gate's down or up, you could go all the way around the orbit, right?
Yeah. And I will say so it's funny because the game itself isn't overly difficult, but the loop and the side ramp were, for me, by far the most difficult shots in the game.
So these two,
those two shots I could not hit consistently at all.
So if we compare that to Rush.
They weren't dangerous, though. If you miss it, it's just going into that scoop on the left side. Half the time. That's how I made most of my shots. Yeah.
So if you throw in this horizontal action, you're saying worst case, you got this big old safety net over here. Like if you bricks and then, but okay, so
it's not a drain fest of a pin. It will be a long playing pin for a lot of people.
We talked about this on Triple Drain though. Like, so if you mirror the play field, Rush has an inner loop and a ramp, like a side ramp. Like, I mean, or is it comparable? Which one's easier to hit? The ramps on Rush, I assume, or
Rush? Yeah, Rush. Rush is easier. Yep.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in quick too, Joel. I feel the same way that Travis and George do for the most part. I thought the artwork has a very 90s feel to it when you look at it. I felt like it was almost like a High Speed or a Terminator or one of those games when you're standing over it. They put a lot of stuff in there, but just the artwork itself just feels to me when you're looking at it feels very 90s. So it has a very unique look about it, I'd say, compared to a lot of the modern Sterns. So I didn't mind that. But I do agree that that it was very right side focused. It felt to me like, I know George stepped in on Deadpool and turned that game around. I almost feel like he caught lightning in a bottle, and this time he just missed it. Like he just didn't have enough time, I feel like, to kind of get that left side going the right way, and they kind of just were like, there it is, let's just we're out of time. I'm not saying that happened, but that's what it feels like to me, because it is just not good on the left side at all. Beyond that orbit on the left, I mean, the rocket shot up there I thought was very unimpressive, unlike what they did with the bobblehead in Deadpool, which is actually kind of fun to get caught up in that zone. It is not fun to be up in that rocket at all. The ball just kind of dies up there and then just kind of just sort of eases back down towards your left side flipper if you're lucky, and then you try and get it up one of those in that ramp shot. So, and then half the time, like they were saying, your ball's going into the scoop underneath that flipper, and then, it bounces out at some crazy angle. So I just didn't feel overall, when you combined it with where the code's at and the layout, it was not a great experience, I didn't think, considering it's coming from one of the great designers of our time. So I found it a little bit disappointing in that way. I love the look of it, but I think design wise, there's a lot to be desired. It is no Deadpool. I don't even think it's close to Deadpool. And I played Deadpool a lot during that stream with during the charity stream with Eric Minier there, and I was reminded again how amazing that game is and how much fun it is. I did not have the same experience with Bond and anywhere close to it, and I wanted to. I wanted to really like it. Maybe over time I would like it, but right now where it stands, I didn't think it was up to Deadpool standards.
Cool.
That's my harsh review.
No, I appreciate the feedback from all this, because here I am just sitting on the outside, and it's like, what are the shots? To me, this left orbit up and around the ramp, it reminds me of the Deadpool on a premium, the katana ramp, that kind of thing, and how that feels. Or I know Avengers has a similar one. The opposite side, though, Stranger Things has one. I really like that type of shot. The fact that there's a spinner on there as well, that to me was going to be like, I hope that's super satisfying. Metal ramp and then a big metal wire form. I hope that's awesome. Yep. And then I was super curious about this on how well that all shot. So to hear, George, that you're saying your initial, kind of a complete lack of kinetic satisfaction is a bummer, because I was really hoping to that was like, I want to hit that shot again, that kind of thing. And obviously the way this loop comes down, it feeds the left flipper. So you'd have to ski jump over or something if you wanted to, hit that multiple times or what. So I don't know. That's a bummer. And I know it's also a shame that code, really nobody's judging it at this point, because it's so bare bones.
It's so and you can like Travis said, even with the noise of Expo, and you couldn't hear most of the games there, you could tell that the code was nowhere near to be where it should be. It did feel like a half-finished game for sure.
So
I want to point out that that's not, for whatever reason at this point, that's so not concerning to me. I'm not judging it negatively because the code wasn't close to complete. Whereas I definitely have on other manufacturers and even previous games from Stern, but I feel positive playing this, that the framework is there, the people are there. It's kind of like you see all of these different placeholders with even Godzilla. You knew all these things were coming, and you can see them all in the playfield.
Yeah.
So it's going to be there. And Ronnie has a track record of doing a really good job of balancing out the points on games with things like Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, I tried not to let the fact that I could never get out of Goldfinger mode bother while I was playing it.
Well, I will give you that. In a perfect world, you would want to have, I know my initial experience when I played Godzilla was just my first few games on Godzilla, every single I was like, this game just feels so good. And you're saying with Deadpool, the first time you hit the katana ramp or something, it's like it's such a feeling and so in a perfect world, every pinball machine would have some sort of kinetic satisfaction of shots that feel awesome that you want to hit over and over and over again. And if you're saying this doesn't have that, that's a bummer. But that doesn't mean, I mean, the game still can only go up from here. The codes can only make this game better. It's just a bummer if physically there isn't anything in this game. It was when I interviewed Keith. Keith said, like, my goal is to make sure I want a fun game when it's a whitewood. Like, I want the game to be fun just to shoot. Like, ignore the code, ignore the theme, ignore the everything. And I think I can say confidently that that Keith did that with Godzilla. But I don't, that's kind of a lens that I try to look at games now is are these shots just fun to hit?
If money was no option, I would buy Toy Story over this game. Honestly, when I played Toy Story, I found it way more fun.
The shots in Toy Story, I said this,
and that's just for me.
Travis, me, and Tom, and then the Loser Kids, we had a chat going, and we were talking about how the cost of GNR is coming down. Like a GNR these days, you can get one. What'd you say, Travis? Like $8,000. I mean, they're like
I've seen them as low as
down.
$8,000. Yeah.
And we all said we're like, if Toy Story ever dropped into the $8,000 range, like shoot. I mean, I'd consider one at that price. But to me, like Toy Story, they've got to change some stuff in the codes, specifically the Bo Peep loops. But they need to change something in there for me to be more tempted to get one. But
well, those damn loops, I'll tell you what they blew on that one. The friggin' flipper to get it up that thing is so small, but the ball's past your flipper before you can even hit it. It's so frustrating. I've never had a shot that's more frustrating than that thing. That is, I feel like that was Pat giving the finger to the industry.
The
like, hit this shot.
George, Bo Peep loops are the upper flipper loops, which is fine, but to qualify to get to the wizard mode, you have to hit like 14 or 15, and it's just such a grind. Unless you do 3 consecutively, Travis
I could barely hit one.
No big deal. I can hit it every time. At least the game I had, you could not consecutively hit that flipper. But
I hit it 3 times every time I tried.
See, there you go. Yeah. But I'm telling
George
you,
was fine with
George,
it.
I know Ray Day's going to pop into chat and say the same thing. And I know I've got to be able to play another Toy Story besides the one I had. But Zach, the one that I borrowed from Zach said the same thing. He's like, if you can hit 3 in a row, like more power to you.
God bless you, because it whipped around there.
Yeah.
So I will say this in closing with Bond.
Okay.
All right. As long, to me, I think the way to go with this pin, and I don't know anything about the Bond theme, but from what I did see with the LCD, it feels like it's like campy stuff. Is it fair to say it's kind of more in the vein of like a Batman 66? Is that the way it's supposed to be?
I think now it's looked at as campy, but when it came out, it was dead serious.
Okay, but right now, is it campy? So
I hope they lean into campy. Yes.
I really feel like I hope that they do, just because I mean there probably is. I mean, there's so many inserts out there. Surely they're going to have a code to where you have to layer a bunch of things together. Although I'm not a fan of seeing all the playfield multipliers that are out there. But that being said, I just hope that they pull the code towards that area and give us a reason to hit different shots.
Okay.
I mean, that's the big thing that I want to see. And there's some combos in the game, but I just want to see it just go full on camp, just make the pin that way, and maybe you can really pull out the fun factor in it.
Yeah. And we'll just have to wait and see. And the only other, I know we're going to tie up Bond here, but it kind of leads me to another question. I mean, on the Flipping the Script interview, Keith Elwin did say that his Bond 60th edition, he said they did the photo shoot last week. So that was 2 weeks ago as of today. And he said the announcement should be anytime now. And I think George Gomez at some point said that it should be this week. So I'm hoping the Keith Elwin Bond comes out like within the next week. And I know I'm stoked for it. We know it's a single level game. But it's a weird thing because here comes a Keith Elwin game I know is outside my price range. I mean, Travis, you're talking what, like 25 to 30,000 is what people are estimating for this game?
I'll just say this, just buckle up. When it comes out, buckle up. Yep.
Okay. I'm excited. I'm excited to see it, but I'm sad because I'm really, this game, I think by the time that the code is really fleshed out, there's probably already going to be another 2 or 3 Stern releases, and I just feel like
it's going to take a year,
yeah,
for sure.
And I'm curious, there was a lot of hate on Stranger Things, and then Stranger Things became what it is now, where people are dying to get one. So is there a chance that this game, by the time the code is finally fleshed out, will be or Batman 66 was similar, or one of those games where it's like, I'm glad I got in early and held on. I don't know. It just, I think soon, as in with whenever Keith Elwin's game comes out, people are going to stop talking about this game for a while. And that's kind of disappointing that a reveal has come and it's going to be kind of gone so quickly. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited about the Elwin game just because I don't know. We all I think we all trust and believe in Keith Elwin. This is kind of how it works. But you can buy early and be holding on to an avatar. Yeah, always the risk. I get it. So people might kill to get a UV kit. Yeah, Zach has one in the vault for $600. It's crazy, but all right. Are you getting one on Lone Jolt? No, I should be getting one of these. I should be getting one of the Gomez bonds as soon as they come out, which I heard was like early November. So hopefully a week or two. And I'm looking forward to streaming it. But at the same time, I'm a little bummed because I think for the month or two that I'm going to stream it, I'm going to be streaming a game that's at like 0.6 code. And I feel like I'm really not going to have the best experience of what the game's going to end up being.
But do you think you're going to get to the wizard mode or something?
Oh, Lord.
What are we worried about here? Just...
that's the goal. Hit a roadblock.
AKA Joel level. It's fine. You're good.
And I'll see that. Hey, it'll be 0.6 code, and I'll see all 0.4 of it. Okay, that I'm gonna get to. So it'll be great. But all right. Well, speaking of Pinmonk, it's time for his favorite time, which is the sponsorship video.
Let's do it.
Pinmonk loves it. So hey, everybody that's in chat, thanks for being here. This is like a 3-minute long video. We really appreciate our sponsors. Hang out, give it a hard time, heckle it if you want. Otherwise, go pee, grab a drink, whatever you need to do, and we'll be right back. We've got plenty more to discuss. So here we go.
Your pinball machine deserves the best. At Comet Pinball, you'll find the best variety of LED products with the best quality LEDs, and most importantly, at the best price. Your collection is begging for an upgrade. Order yours now at cometpinball.com.
Scorbit is excited to announce Achievements, the latest in an amazing series of features available to thousands of connected pinball machines around the world. Achievements are part of Scorbit's free open platform. Scorbit already supports hundreds of pinball machines from the 1970s to today. Give your games new life by connecting them to the Scorbit platform and the universe of applications for pinball machines.
Sweet. All right. Well, thanks for sticking with us. I appreciate our sponsors. Truly, we really do appreciate our sponsors. We have those 8 amazing sponsors. Once again, Comet Pinball for all your LED needs, Measle Mods for pretty much any mod that you could add into most modern games, Scorebit, connect your any pin to the internet. They are now by default in all JJP games and soon to be American Pinball games. Stern Pinball, we just talked about them, and Bond. They make some amazing games that just came out. That's it. 3 minutes flew by. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, yeah. Pin Monk Victor, he's in the chat. Give him a hard time. He just released an awesome new product. It's his Flipper fans, but it's a new version of them. I have them in my TNA, and they are fantastic. Zach and Nicole flipping out. Super appreciative to them. This is the Flipping Out stream on Wednesday night, and anything new or used pinball, reach out to them. Accessories, get on whatever list that Zach has. I think he's got like a Google Doc maybe that he uses, but he stays on top of his stuff. So yeah, definitely reach out to Zach and Nicole. Pinball photos, some awesome stuff hanging in your game room, and last but not least, speaker light kits. You can see them behind me. I have them both in Deadpool and Turtles, and when I get to Godzilla, I will absolutely get them in Godzilla. So here's our calendar. Main one to point out tomorrow night, George, Don't Panic Flip. Check him out. So yeah, here we go. So thanks for bearing with us, and let's keep going. We've talked about Bond, Ray Day. While waiting for Bond, you should totally get Zach to send you a Rush Premium. 100%. I know, Craig, you have a Rush on your way. Travis has a Rush Premium. George has a Rush LE. Real quick.
What all
Such
the
a
cool
fun
kids
game.
do.
Apparently
Such
the
a fun game.
Yeah. Apparently,
I played it again.
It happened.
I finally got to play a premium actually at the show, Joel, and it was
Look at this. Look at that's what I get. Travis Murray, everybody. The professional. He's hired. He works in pinball. Come on, point at the right corner. How do I do a mirror? There we go. Right there. Oh, he's back.
There he is.
What happened?
Yeah. Elgato no signal. We all saw it. Yeah. Yeah. So Rush, a good game. Thumbs up all around.
Yeah.
Code.
Lots of fun. Played the premium again at or I played the premium for the first time at Expo, and it's amazing. You know, it's
So you're
it
ready.
was a lot of fun.
So you're ready to
ready.
get yours. Yeah. Which
Rush
is funny.
Rush is approaching a great game status. It really is.
Mhm.
The more and more I play it, the more and more I dive
Yep.
into it. It's an excellent, well put together game.
So what's holding it back, and why is it Ray Day? Just wondering.
Well, I'll tell you why. The 25x bonus that you can't get
okay.
to. Yeah, that's why.
That's why. Ray Day in chat. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, love you, Ray Day. All right. Okay. Well, I'm glad, Craig, because I know you have a Rush coming on order. I think it's funny because they're in stock here in the U.S. and Canada. They just
I
can't.
know, it just makes me
you
sick.
just can't.
It's so ridiculous. I don't know what's going on.
All right. So on to the next game, and I will go ahead and start pulling up photos. Next game, Queen. Did the three of you guys play Queen? What were your impressions? George, I started with you last time. Why don't we go with Craig on this one? Craig, you didn't play it? Or you did play
No,
it?
I did.
Okay,
I
what do
did.
we got?
And I watched George play it too when he played it for the first time. And it's well, I don't want to steal George's line, but it's a pinball machine, you know, and not a particularly good one.
So this week in pinball did not do a Queen reveal, but keep going because I can't.
Yeah, so it was very, I thought, lackluster. It looks okay, but that's kind of where the good stuff ends, I think, with it. You know, again, just little things at shows. I know it's loud at a show. This is the first time anyone's really been able to play the game, and not having that audio cranked up. I mean, we're talking about one of the greatest bands, rock bands ever, and here you can barely hear the music, you know. So that was my first gripe. But when you listened for the music, there was something about the audio mix too that I didn't like. And I know it's a live, all the songs are live, but they have some great live tracks, and I just didn't feel like this game was highlighted the music element of this machine very well. Unlike Rush, which there we are down in the Stern booth, not to hype too much on them, but there was a lot of noise down in that Stern booth. They probably had 30 games, I'd say, in the round, like, you know, in different pods. and we were able to hear the audio great on that game, and the music is fantastic, whether you like it or don't. I mean, it was very prominent in that game. Whereas this game, I felt like I was really struggling to hear the audio over crowd noise and other weird ambient sound effects that they put in the game. So I felt like that to me was disappointing a little bit, that the music itself, I thought, if nothing else, I'm gonna love the music, and so that was a big bummer for me. Um, I'll let George talk about the shots in terms of what he felt and liked or didn't like. I didn't feel like there was too much beyond that to like. The art on that back box I didn't feel like was great either.
Well, Franchi
It's
keeps harping on the fact that speaker lines straight up. He thinks it lines up with this guy's butthole. That's what he keeps saying. He said that
it's just not
directly
good.
to
Yeah.
the guys. They were interviewing the Pinball Brothers, and he's like, "Are you aware that this lines straight up?" It's like, dude, this is their
Yeah.
game. I don't know, but
It's I didn't think it was great, from this, and the side cabinet art as well, and I know that's, it's sort of no big deal for the most part because you're not playing the side, but, just to slap a Queen logo there on the side with gold logo, I don't know. Just for me, it's very uninspired, which is sort of what I felt the whole game was generally very uninspired. It looks good, like that those chrome ramps look good, it sparkles, it's got some nice, LGB or LED lighting in it, or RGB lighting. But beyond that, it's mostly uninspiring. If I was a Queen, thank God I'm not a huge Queen fan. If I was, I would be horribly disappointed with this game.
sorry about the F11, everybody. Wow, glad the first thing I hear when I get on here is about buttholes. Hey, you're welcome. No problem, Tommy. Is there a top-down view of this game that's readily available on the internet, like a good one? If so,
I actually
please.
able to find one, so I don't think so.
I don't. Okay, is this as good as we're getting on the shots?
Aliens was a much better game, by the way, and I played that there too.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is nowhere near how fun Aliens was when I played it. Nowhere near it.
I just listened to the Pinball Show, Zach and Dennis, great show, and now it's Joel Butthole Bob. No, okay, no, that's not that's not a thing. Zach and Dennis, Zach like loved this game. Zach said he loved the way it shot, and he was super impressed by it. So, but yet he said the game like crashed a bunch of times, and there was stuff that because I think there's some magnetic things up here with Wimbledon. They said there's a few things they straight up like disabled because they were having issues with it. But Zach made it sound like he was really impressed with how this shot. I don't know who wants to break down shots. George, I mean, do you want to go again, or
I don't know what game he was playing. Tell him, George.
Zach was high on painkillers? Is what
I
they're
think
saying.
so.
Yeah.
You should let Travis go first. I'm hoping
Okay.
somebody has something positive to say.
Okay. Air balls very
Help us.
often and very easily over the flippers. Someone. Okay. What do you got, Travis?
All right, so I played this while I was drinking, so I was kind of happy at the time. But so yeah, the code just isn't there. I mean, there was bugs galore. I was getting into modes. Things were just, freezing up, locking up, and all this and that. Why is my camera so far away? Because all my professional stuff is with my job. This is like all my OnlyFans stuff, so I apologize about that. Anyhow, so it is very center ramp heavy, though. Like, it is incredibly center ramp heavy, and overall, I did like the music to it though when I did get to hear it, because this was like 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, so it was actually a little bit quieter around the area, so you could hear it a little bit better. It actually sounded halfway decent for what it was. I like that they did put Queen as a live band, just because Queen is a live band, so that, to me, that was a great decision with that. But in terms of just what shots I want to do and where I want to go, I mean, it was very much a center ramp heavy game. And the flippers, they felt fine to me. I mean, it was almost like they weren't near as snappy as a Stern, but they weren't near as noodleish as a JJP could get. So it was like somewhere, it was like a cross in between there to me. Like you could, like Dalton will love this, you could tap pass on the game, which was interesting to do on a modern game. So you could do that.
So
there
the
just
ball
really
center ramp goes around here and then feeds this.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And
and
is there a
there's
diverter
also
here
a
to-
physical lock up there
Yeah,
too.
right there. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So there just, I don't know. There just wasn't. I actually enjoyed the flippers, but in terms of like the overall shots, I mean, the game just it didn't play difficult at all. There just wasn't really anything dangerous to hit. So I guess in that regard, it's like you're going to have long ball times on it. And if you enjoy listening to Queen, you're going to enjoy listening for a long time once they sort out the code. But
What
you
about
know,
the upper
I'm
play
just,
field? How'd that feel?
I mean, there honestly wasn't much to it. Because I mean, you have what
Horrible.
you have like 3 stand-up
Oh, horrible.
targets,
Okay.
and that's about it.
But this
know,
is a captive ball, yeah? It bounces back
Yeah,
there.
I mean,
And
it's a pinball
scoop?
machine. I don't know what to say. Like it just
Yeah.
wasn't. There wasn't. I got up there a couple of times, I think, if I remember right. But I mean, the lower half was okay. It was all right, but I don't know. I wouldn't go as far as like Zach did and praising it and saying, you know, well, it
Yeah.
shot great and everything. I mean, the flippers felt fine, but yeah, I mean, that's about all you can really say about it. It's hard to really judge the whole entire package just because the code just wasn't there and there was a lot of bugs and different things and everything. But I'll say like the artwork though, for me, it's like I don't understand some of the decisions, and I say that as somebody that got a C in my art class in high school. So it's like, you know, even I'm kind of confused by it. Like if you look at Freddie Mercury's face, like it looks like he just got slugged on the left side of his
Yeah,
face right before he took the photo or
It's called a
whatever. I mean,
shadow.
I just that
I
does
get it.
not look
I
like
know.
a shadow.
Not good.
Like
It's
not
his
good.
jaw, it's
I
like
get
he
it.
got stung
Yeah.
by a bunch of bees or something. Like right before he went out on stage. Like I don't. You look at that, it's kind of just a little bit off. But I mean, I don't know. I think if you're a Queen fan, if you're a Queen fan and you're casual in pinball, you'll probably enjoy it. If you're a Queen fan and you're hardcore into pinball, you're probably, you know, kind of teetering a little bit. But at least it's not a home pin. I mean, it could be that. You could be Teolis and like Spinal Tap and then see who's making
it's-
that. So,
yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, sorry, Jeff. All right, George. You agree? I can't wait for George. I loved it. No, what do we got, George?
So I want to start by saying Queen to me is the greatest of all themes possible for a pinball machine. I mean, maybe a dedicated Daft Punk pinball machine might somehow be close in terms of how amazing it could be, but I mean, they snagged the absolute best license possible, and I also want to throw out a minor caveat. Like I just shit on Bond a little bit ago on just the layout of that. Like I want to hold this game to the same standard that I'm going to hold every other manufacturer, and it doesn't even compare. Like it kind of feels like somebody's very first pinball machine. Like it doesn't even have the tactile sensation of playing it of like a normal standard pinball machine. It feels weak. Yeah, the rule set on it. So this was announced like a year ago when we got to see the full play field, all of the artwork and everything. I don't know how long ago that was. But
July, I think, last year.
Of last year?
I believe so.
When they had it at that random boutique store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the artwork was done, the play field was done, all the mechanics were laid out because the play field was there. Like they've had over a year evidently to work on nothing but software.
September.
And it September. Okay. And they I imagine there are some really cool people working on this game. And I imagine that they are doing everything possible to make this as awesome as they can possibly make it. But that if it took Stern a year to get this far on the code as it is, it's worse than Guardians when Guardians was launched. It's a struggle, and it's one of, like, once again, it's exacerbated by the fact that it's Queen, and I want it to be the greatest pinball machine ever for a theme that would make it like if Queen was the theme on Rush would be the #1 greatest game ever of all time. Like if that, in my opinion, Rush is the only thing holding that back, and that is some of the best software I've ever experienced on a layout that is very enjoyable. It doesn't have to be the greatest thing ever, and this it misses.
Wow. Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
strong take. no,
I
but
feel
George,
like it's very
that's-
home pinish. You know, like when you're standing over it, you do feel like they're not even getting to the low bar of where you want to see a professional manufacturer of pinball machines. Like it's just not there. Like George said, it's not there. That's my opinion. It's not there.
It's interesting. I mean, you gotta give them props in a way. I mean, they have 2 huge licenses. Queen, you're saying like
I
Queen
know.
is probably the top music pin they could ever, and then Alien. I know even Dennis Creasel here in chat has said like Alien, he freaking loves Alien, and yet he can't push himself to own that game because it's just not there. So it is funny. There's a lot of joking around on Pinside and what that people are like, Harry Potter, I hope JJP gets it because they're going to take it this way. While other people are like, no, in Stern only we trust, you know, like at least it's just amazing the reputations that people get, you know, just like, please, I want there to be a Spinal Tap game, but no, how is it that Home Pin is the one that made it, you know? And I don't know. I'll be curious. I mean, this is their second game, right? And there's some stuff in here that I find interesting. Some of the lighting stuff that they choose. Or have chosen, but yeah, just layout wise, I agree. I mean, I haven't touched the game yet, but there's this upper playfield. There's nothing up there that looks exciting to me, as in like, oh, I want to experience that. And I don't know, unless the code just ends up being some ridiculous, amazing experience where an okay playfield doesn't matter because the code really lets you enjoy Queen and Queen music. I don't know, but. Bummer.
I would be shocked.
Yeah, that's
they
hard.
Can pull it out of their hat.
Because
and I'll tell you why, Joel. Because I do think companies like there's a reason why companies like Stern and JJP are the leaders, and it's because the entire crew is the top of the industry. And that's not to say that there aren't some great people at other smaller companies, but you can see when you stand over these other games that there is a huge divide, I believe, between the JJPs and the Stern and everybody else. And you can see they're all trying to play catch up, and they've got the best of the best in the industry. And that's just a fact. And, you know, so these companies are going to struggle to do the things that these other companies do because they don't have the people that these other companies have, you know?
Yeah. They don't have the Ray-Days, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, they don't have the Ray-Days, they don't have the Eric Miniers, they don't have the Joe Katz, they don't have all the guys that Stern and JJP have, and that is their huge disadvantage. You know, I think it shows in their final product, frankly. The shame of it is, I think, is that the pricing doesn't demonstrate that. So when I look at what a Stern Pro is versus this machine, I'm like, why would you even dream of it? Like, it's not even close. And yet it's the same. It's very comparable in terms of price. So I'm like, I really feel like some of these guys right now are riding the coattails of the leaders right now in terms of price. And I do think that is highway robbery, frankly.
There's, I mean, there's some there's some huge Queen fans that'll get it just because it's Queen. But George, you brought up such a good, like Rush. That's a good point. Like Rush, so many people are like, I don't like Rush. So they just didn't try. But the game, the way it shoots and the code is so good that now people are falling in love with the game. And also they're like, you know what, this band's pretty good. And you brought up such a good point that if it wouldn't have been Rush and it would have been like, you're right, Queen probably would have been just this ridiculous seller if you would have taken the game Rush and put Queen on it. Like I never thought about that. That's crazy. But yeah, price wise, I don't even if you're a diehard fan, this is not small. This is not small money.
I feel like that is if people feel like Stern's pricing is a slap in the face, this is like a kick right in the you know what. You know, like it is not good. And if I think if you're a Queen fan, you really got to plug your nose to go in on this machine because you can't. It's not there. Like the value is not there.
Emily and Dr. John, shout out to you. I mean, Dr. John, I appreciate you. I'm a huge Queen fan. Had my name on a list here and took it off. So That's a bummer, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. But
Well, and George, I thought, because I was there when you played it, I thought you were, and understandably so, because I didn't realize you were a huge Queen fan, but you were quite disappointed with that experience, and your comments were very similar, when you played it, just after you first played it, to what they were now. And I could tell you were quite disappointed
yeah.
Well,
with that experience.
I went in with such high hopes. I really did. Like, walked up to it. I may not be a fan of Alien because I'm not a huge fan of the layout, but I mean, is there better theme integration? Maybe you could say Batman 66, but man, they knocked that out of the park with theme integration. Once again, I'm not a huge fan of the game, but I can appreciate the most fantastic art. On the back glass for Queen is, I'm sorry, not Queen, the Queen Alien on the back of the Alien back glass is amazing. And to see what they did, kind of pulling themselves out of the Andrew Highway stuff and separating themselves and really it seemingly trying to make a big effort on Alien. I can enjoy what they did there. So when I walked up to Queen, I'll say the pin blades that are lit, like backlit, and the cool drop targets that are lit, fantastic. I'm not a huge fan of the art. It felt like they tried to get somebody to do Franchi, but they didn't hire someone at Franchi's quality or capability to do the artwork on it. And the cabinet itself was pretty lame, but I'm looking past it. I just want to get some games on it. And just even how the software is laid out. Like it starts off, it's almost like one of those things used to, in the 80s, you would put up to your eyes and you'd push a button and it would have a disc inside with all the little pictures and it would rotate around. Like I don't know. It doesn't scream to me. It just doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it needed more Queen music and for things to be louder, but I walked in really hoping to walk away being like I was just smacked in the face by Queen, and it never happened.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I know, flipping out's going to sell them. So hopefully the
iRush
continues.
Way better money spent. I'm telling you right now, get a Rush
Continues to come out. But all right. So that was first
the
impressions.
Viewmaster. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the. All right. So that was our first impressions of Queen. There was another game that you guys hopefully all had a chance to play. We don't have to dive too far into this. Magic Girl.
Because you can't.
Magic Girl. Who
you don't have to go far.
Who played it? Thoughts?
Well, I'm just going to quickly, I don't have much to say about it other than it kind of lives up to all of the expectation in terms of its looks. It's a gorgeous looking game.
Okay.
It is like a mountain of plastic and lit up lights when you see it in real life. I mean, that center plastic, it's like a mountain of ramps, and it's, you don't know kind of where one ramp goes and the other one ends. I actually hit it on my last ball. I was able to get the ball successfully up that ramp, and I felt like I won the lottery there because
yeah.
So I really love the scoreboard in the back of the cabinet.
Yeah.
Again, very Circus Voltaire. I think that is very aesthetically pleasing. It leaves a lot of room on the back box for art, which is fantastic on this game. And it's just very, like, visually, it's very easy to look at when you're playing it, and you can see without having to take your eye too much off the playfield, almost like a heads-up display. So I'm kind of sad that didn't kind of become the norm, because it does still feel to me a little more futuristic versus where we are now with having that there. It's just more comfortable, in my opinion, to have it there. So for a dot matrix display, I really like that. But beyond that, the game's a clunk fest, and everyone that plays it feels the same way. I actually saw one player, very Magic Girl-like. Of course, a lot of these games were only set to 2 balls as well, which I found extremely frustrating. And they were trying to do that just to keep the lines rolling, which I get. But still, especially for a game like Queen, which you could buy, I thought that was extremely short-sighted, because people wanted to experience it and to make some buying decisions. And I thought they were kind of pushing people off it a little too quickly. But On this game, I actually saw a ball completely disappear and they couldn't find it, you know? And so there we were standing in line for 10
It's
minutes. We were
magic,
about to
man.
play and the guy friggin' lost the ball and they couldn't. So anyway, I thought that was very fitting. And I thought, well, this is why the game is a disaster, you know? But what'd you guys think of it?
Chat is saying here when you put the LCD in the back that the ramps, I mean, you can kind of see it in this picture, especially if you're shorter. It kind of makes that a lot harder to see. I mean, I'm all for, like, I like on the P3 that all your information is right there by the flippers, or like the
Yep.
old Alien had the screen in the display, or even the new Fathom, we'll talk about that, has a screen down in the apron. Like, I agree. There's even a mod for Stern games where you can actually put a screen down on your apron, and I was like, that sounds awesome, but I never look up then. And so I like the idea of bringing more information down, but in this particular, I mean, at least from this angle, it looks like it blocks it pretty much. But
It's not, yeah, I can see why people are saying that, because again, the mountain of plastic is quite something in this game. Like,
well, Dennis Nordman said when you watch the Arcade Hollywood video, he says that he already has 2 games designed. I think they're both original themes, and one of them has a completely redesigned cabinet. So maybe he's doing something like this, bringing stuff down. I don't know. But George, what are your thoughts, man?
I never got to play it.
Okay.
It looked absolutely gorgeous, but there was always a decent line and never made it there.
All right.
Yep.
Travis, do you touch it or no?
No, I was not going to waste any time playing it.
Okay.
I played it before. It's, yeah. I am absolutely shocked that people are still buying this game new in box. Like, I'm absolutely floored. I know of somebody that bought one just this past weekend for right around $30,000, and that just
box.
Yeah, that just floors me. And I know obviously that they have the I guess it's over in Europe that they have the code finished up or whatever that people can send their game off to, but I'm absolutely shocked that people are still paying that amount of money for this game, because honestly, it's just, to me, it's just a clunk fest. It's not fun at all. Like, it does have a mountain of plastic. Just like Craig said, that's like the most astute observation of this game that anybody could possibly make. So it's, I mean, I don't know. I'm shocked that it's even really still relevant, but you know, for a lot of people, it's just that the relevancy lies in the fact that there's not many of them out there. And for whatever reason, John Papaduke tends to get people very excited about certain aspects of pinball, and just the FOMO of that they have to have it. So, you know, but if I have to compare it to everything else that's out today, it's like, I mean, just like we just talked about Queen, I would rather go and play 10 games straight of Queen than even plunge a ball on Magic Girl. Like, there's just nothing there at all.
If you're a fan of John Papaduke, your money is better spent on Circus Voltaire, you know, because at least you get a game that's
1000%.
playable, that has very similar aspects in terms of the art and the dot matrix display in the back of the cabinet there. And it's actually a game that's entertaining and fun and kind of unique with the mechanism in the head of the cabinet. Whereas this game, you want it to be good, but you can't even get close to it being good when you actually start to shoot it.
People just like the idea of Magic Girl, but I honestly think this is John Papaduke's, like, his worst game. And, I mean, out of anything. Yeah, it's the most expensive one. So I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. I have no idea.
Well, there is a video out here, Pinball Mayhem. Jeremy's a super nice guy. He streams. Pinball Mayhem apparently got access to basically make this video before the everything opened up. So he captured some game audio, and I mean, it's a 10-minute long video, and I'll tell you, I watched the first game and it looks awful. Like, nothing against it, but, and I don't know if it's the player or what, but it's just like, you're right. You said you felt like you were a god when you hit one ramp, and it just, everything I'm seeing,
the
ball goes
design
up,
of
it
it
comes
is
down,
not
comes
good.
up, goes down, comes up, goes down. Yeah. So it's,
people harp on the code, but literally the design of the game is not good. It's just not.
Thanks, Victor.
It's funny because people always laugh at when someone says it's a good shooter, and people are like, well, what isn't a good shooter? Well, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of games I realized when I was at Expo that are in fact not good shooters. And you realize, in fact, how far design of pinball, I think, has come, and people, the good designers realize what works and what doesn't work, and you're looking at an example of a design that does not work.
Yeah.
Regardless of how the company went bankrupt, the game is not good. Like the layout of this game is not good.
Well, so in my mind, it was like, what am I missing at Expo? I'm missing a chance to play Bond. Queen was announced. I was hoping American Pinball. It doesn't surprise me. Nothing was announced because they just announced their restructuring of Legends of Valhalla, so they're all in on that. Even though I want Galactic Take Force, so that's not out yet. But I was hoping CGC would announce something. I saw on Nap Arcade that they said the Cactus Canyon remake LEs are going to be delayed again. I just saw that earlier today. So what is this here? It's saying delayed again.
I saw that today too.
They're not going to be what is it? It'll take them approximately 18 weeks to finish the production run. I mean, it's going to be a while, but I was also hearing a lot of rumors that Chicago Gaming was supposed to release their next, their new game. It wasn't going to be a licensed, or it wasn't going to be licensed. The rumor is Pulp Fiction. Apparently, there's a lot of talk that it was supposed to happen at Expo. Hasn't happened. So that's a bummer. I was hoping for a new game there to play or experience. But did either of you guys? I know this isn't new news, but I know George, you've already played this because I was at TPF. Craig, you played Weird Al. Yes. What were your thoughts?
It was very fun. Yeah,
Okay.
It was very fun. I thought there's been a lot of criticism on the for the animation on this game, and I actually found it quite entertaining. I think it's a great machine. Now, I think the price is outrageous, but I think it's for what it is. But I went in thinking I was gonna not like this game, much like I didn't like Queen or Magic Girl or some of the other stinkers out there. But I was pleasantly surprised with this P3 platform in general. You can tell they've put a lot of effort into the mechanics of it, and those modules are packed with mechanisms. They kind of have to be because that's their design, I'd argue. But I do think for what it is, they're doing a pretty good job. I didn't mind the animations. I thought it all kind of tied together, and I can see why they're selling these Weird Al's because it just works with this theme. I think they really hit a home run. I think with that theme and this platform. Oh boy.
Hey Travis, you're
Speaking
looking
of
great,
home
man.
runs.
God, I'm telling you guys, at the podcast, we record with cameras on every time, and this is what I live with. The guy doesn't know how to charge a battery on a camera.
Give me $20 more and I'll come back on, Joel.
He genuinely doesn't know how to charge a camera. Like, it's unbelievable.
It's charged.
No, I don't.
It's fine.
So, Craig,
No big
though,
deal.
you're saying, George, I know you've had an interesting. You were all in on a P3, and then now you're not. Did you play it again, or what are your feelings? Are you bummed you don't have one, or you wish you? I don't know. Have you anything change in that world? No.
Nope. I got to play this a bunch. It's fun, but I don't feel like I'm missing out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then Travis, did you touch one again? I saw Ray Day here. I
Did.
know Ray Day's
I touched it a few times, Joel.
Good. Probably too many.
Yep.
Okay, so Ray Day I know is a huge Weird Al fan. He said he finally had a chance to play one of these. I remember you said that in our Discord that you actually had a lot of fun on the game. So, or as a Weird Al fan, you had a lot of fun, which is cool. Travis, did you play the P3 again? Anything change there?
Well, so I'll say this. I think that the animations in person are actually pretty cool. I enjoyed seeing that. I thought that the sound was what surprised me the most. I thought that the sound of the pin was really well put together. Just everything put there. But besides that, I'm not a huge fan of the layout just because everything just feels like it's just so far away from the flippers and it takes so long for the ball to get there. And even then it's like you're getting a lot of half ramps or a lot of post shots. So, I mean, that part was kind of a negative for me, but I mean, overall, I think it's the right pin at the right time for him. So if you're a Weird Al fan, I think you'll really enjoy it. And unlike Queen, I think even if you're heavy duty into pinball and you're a Weird Al fan, you might enjoy it a little bit more. I don't know. It's just Like even my wife, Monica, she really enjoyed it. And then I asked her, I was like, well, do you want to get one? And then I told her the price and she's like, okay, well, hopefully
Just
we'll
sell
see it
that
on
Toy
location
Story.
someday.
Yeah, just sell that Toy
She
Story.
will not
boom.
let go of Toy Story. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
don't
fun.
know. I don't know if JJP is holding her hostage over something and I'm just unaware of. I have no idea.
I get it.
She loves that pen.
Well, if you guys are interested in this, I know Fliptronic, they have one. They stream it a lot, and then Buffalo Pinball. A lot of the Buffalo Pinball guys have all gotten P3s, so there's plenty of people now streaming the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, I'll play a P3 anytime I get a chance, just because it's such a unique experience. But still not there to push me over the edge to buy one and commit to the platform. So, but cool. I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad there, Craig, like there are people like yourself that just haven't had a chance to play one, and you have one. You finally got to do it. But
I think from an engineering standpoint, it's a very well built machine, and you can tell they put a lot of thought into that. People talk about the flippers. I thought the flippers felt pretty good.
Yeah.
Again, compared to a lot of the negative things I've heard, and now maybe I'm assuming I was playing with the latest version of their flipper mechs, so
Flipper kit,
it didn't bother me at all. But I agree with everything and everyone else has said. It looks great. I don't think the value's there for me personally. And I'd rather, if I'm going to spend too much money on a pin, I'd go towards, JJP or an LE for Stern.
Travis, I saw you had your hand up.
Oh, I was just going to say there is like one major pin that you haven't discussed yet. I was hoping you would discuss it.
Fathom 2.0?
Yeah, that would be it. I did play that game.
I'm looking at, well, tell us about it. I'm trying to find some pictures here.
So I will say this. I was very surprised and pleasantly surprised at how well put together that game was. Like the cabinet looked great. The lights looked great. The sound was great. It played as expected. It played like a Fathom. I mean, I was very surprised by that because it's even with CGC, and everybody knows this. If you play an Attack from Mars or Medieval Madness remake, it just feels different than the original. This one, like the difference between this and the original Fathom, there really wasn't that much difference in terms of the feel of it. So I was really surprised by that. Now, I was completely lost when playing the modes. I had no idea how to defeat the mermaid or anything like that. But in general, it was actually a really good time. And if that Fathom, if it was over here in the States, I probably would splurge and try to get one. I mean, it was well put together. It was a lot of fun.
Now, are you a big fan of the original game?
I mean, I could take it or leave it, but I mean, I can honestly say in person though, this game looks beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
I was shocked at how good it looked. Like when you see the photos, you're like, okay, they might have, brought out the colors a little bit, did something in post, but when you see it in person,
no, it's
legit.
Yep.
It is legit.
Yep.
Very rich looking, and very high end looking and feeling, I'd say. It's everything you'd want in a remake machine. Like if this is going to be, if they can continue on and do more rebuilds, I mean, I would have 100% confidence in whatever their next Bally game is. And this is kind of what you would want in a in a vault, call it, with modern components. I think it's fantastic.
I mean, I will say this. Here's like the best thing I can say about this. Between playing Weird Al, between playing Toy Story, between playing Queen, I would say the Fathom game just feels like it's built better than everything. It just feels like it feels good when you play it. And that part, because Haggis is basically new. I mean, they put out Celts, but let's face facts. Not too many of us over here in America have seen these pins.
Yeah.
And so I was just shocked by how it felt while playing it. And I found myself having a lot of fun playing it. So if you're in for a Fathom, great job. Congratulations. Yep. I hate you officially, but it's such a fun game. It's great.
Yeah.
Go ahead, George. Go ahead.
I was just going to echo everything that Travis and Craig said. It was fantastic. It's on my short list now for if it ever pops up. I would absolutely love to own a Haggis Fathom. It was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible layout, and I think if we look at it just on the let's say there was no 2.0, let's say they just remade Fathom, like they crushed it. I mean, the game is Fathom. It's gorgeous. It's all with modern technology. I mean, everything is so shiny and pretty, and they made an
Hmm.
amazing remake of the game. And then to go one step further and put a whole new code set on it. The code itself, I agree. At least watching the streams and whatnot, I really struggled with trying to follow it. Like, even though there's displays down here, just communicating what's going on. So I'll be very curious once people play these more, how well the code is respected. I know, Travis, from a tournament standpoint, I'll be interested if you'll have a tournament sometime soon that has this, but it's not Fathom 1, it's Fathom 2.0. Like, and whether or not you'll
No,
have to, you don't think you'll have a tournament that'll be on the 2.0 code at any point?
no, unless Carl does it.
Unless Carl
Carl's
does it.
about the
Okay.
only one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, well, the reason being is just because it's so when you play Fathom, I mean, you just the rule set is just so great already before you add in multi-ball and you add in modes and all this and that. I mean, it's very simple in the sense that the things that you have to do, but it's not the easiest thing to do either to blow it up. So that's what makes it a fun tournament game. And I think with the modes and everything, it just kind of, I wasn't quite sure where to go with everything with it. And that's probably more of my fault more than anything. But even reading through some of the things and reading, I guess, the little LCD screen, I still
Yeah.
wasn't quite clear on what was going on. And then I felt like some shots when they were lit, I would hit them expecting something to happen and it didn't happen. So I don't know. I just gotta figure it out and go from there.
Sure. It takes time. And I know it usually takes you a little longer than others. So it'll be fine. You'll get there. But
I want to point out those two LCDs at the bottom, by the way, are way higher quality than you think they'd be.
yeah.
Like the LCD in Toy Story 4 has that crazy like old school tracing or whatever they call, where the flippers leave trails behind them when they go. The two LCDs at the bottom of the of Fathom are perfect. They're very high quality.
Yes.
I was really surprised when I walked up to it.
It's like they checked every box from a cosmetic and technical and mechanical. I mean, everything in this game. I will be curious. I think there was, what was it? I think it was on it was Ron Hallett's podcast. Is that Slap Save? It's Slap Save, but it's they said they have
Slam Tilt?
one. Slam Tilt. That's it. Slam Tilt. They said that they have one that they've had some mechanical issues. But I think once we get through that and work through just in the reliability of the game, I don't know. If you order this game, I'd order it in confidence. I mean, the game looks incredible. I mean, you know what it is, you know what the layout is, you know what the game is. And so 2.0, I know Marty's taken a lot of pride and ownership in wanting to make that a really awesome code. So
Yeah.
Pinball Profile. So Jeff, yeah, they have good support. I hope so. I mean, I don't know. I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
And somebody had said is flipping out. I know Zach has one. Is he going to let me borrow it to stream? I don't. I mean, I'd take it. I'd be happy to
That would be
stream
cool.
it if he let me
Yeah.
borrow it. I'll tell you right now, figuring out how to direct capture those two monitors at the bottom may be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll see. Could be a fun time. But yeah, I think that's. I mean, let me know if I'm missing anything. Was there any other game, modern game or something that was a unique experience for the? Go ahead, George. What'd you play?
I got to play Toy Story 4 for the first time.
Okay, all
I
right.
know it's a big joke, but I probably ended up putting 20 games on it. I thought it was fun. Like
Yes.
I think they toned down, or maybe I just couldn't hear any of the music, so there was none of the repetitive the song that's really irritating from the movie, and it's gorgeous.
Yes.
It has to be the most beautiful pin I think I've ever seen. The light coordination on it, the blue that's everywhere. It was really, the layout is actually really fun. I felt like every time I played the game, I had an opportunity to beat it. Like the ball times on it are insane, but you kind of expect that. But I don't know. I thought it's not a game I think I could own long term until the rules get adjusted. And assuming that Joe Katz ends up doing like a 2.0 version or something like that on it, I think I was pleasantly surprised because I walked into it. I've listened to this podcast called Triple Drain a few times, and I feel like some of the guys on Triple Drain talk very negatively about the game, but I was
dicks. Yeah.
Hey,
thought-
my 6-year-old loves the game too, George. So it's okay. You know, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I don't even like Toy Story that much. I just thought the game was enjoyable.
Yeah, I thought it was fun too.
It is fun, and I will. That's what I'm saying. If I see it in a bar or I see it somewhere, I will gladly play the game. Like I enjoyed
Yeah.
playing the game and enjoyed streaming the game. It just unfortunately, once you know the code and know how to get to the wizard mode, there are some tasks are super easy, some are kind of a grind. At least on the game I had, and if it wasn't, if I didn't feel like some of the things were such a grind and were easier to hit on other games, but it's just to me like. People give me a hard time. Joel level play. I got to the wizard mode. So just George, like if you own the game, you would blow through it in a night. Like it's just that's unfortunately where the code is, and that's
Well,
where.
and that's a lot of the thing too.
That was the
That's
goal,
why it
yeah.
makes that's what makes it fun too on location. I mean, it's killing on locations, and with kids, they see Toy Story, so of course they're going to gravitate to it. You know,
Sure.
adults, they see Toy Story, they're going to gravitate to it. And it has the one shot in there that's easy and accessible, which is the Duke Kaboom shot,
The jump
which
ramp's
does something
awesome.
right,
Yes.
which does something
Mhm.
unique for pinball.
Yeah.
And all the shots are very accessible. So in that regard, they did exactly what they needed to do with the pin. And we've talked about this, Joel, that this pin was not designed for the elite player in mind or to be seen at Indisc or something like that. And Carl, I know you're going to put it in there
It
too.
was
I'm already
designed for
predicting that right now.
me and children.
Yes,
it's designed
yes.
for me.
It was designed
And
for
children.
Joel and his precision
Yeah.
precision flippers. Yes,
No, come on.
absolutely.
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's not. I'm not. I hope. Yes, George. I know we talked about it a lot on triple drain, and I understand. Like Tom and Travis, top 25 players in the world.
No,
It's ridiculous.
I enjoy Toy Story, George.
own
It's just
one, but you don't
Forky.
play it.
It's just
It's
because
not-
Forky freaking sucks,
Yeah.
Joel. That's
Forky's
why.
awesome.
Forky's great.
Forky was a great-
Forky is not.
in Toy Story
Forky
4.
is an abomination. Should have never been created. Whoever came up with
Yeah.
that character should be fired from Pixar. I swear, they should have all their benefits like taken away. We should
Yeah.
focus on Woody. Yeah, that might be a little too far, but we should still focus on Woody and Buzz Lightyear. If they
It's-
did that, I would be all in. I'd be good.
It really, I do. I will say, I mean, of all the games that Zach's let me borrow, it is missed. Like it is genuinely friends and family miss that game, and we're bummed that it's gone. So it's you know, for the people with a large collection or a large wallet, go for it, and you're probably gonna
Mhm.
love the game. It's just to me, if I can only own 4, I can't justify it being one of the 4, and I definitely
Yeah.
can't justify it at $10,000+ Like I
Yeah.
just,
Well,
no,
it's just the
too
yeah
much.
the replayability on it too. I mean, if you blow through the whole game, it's like how
Yeah.
much do you want to go through that journey again?
And
yeah.
That's the difference. And the thing is it's not necessarily picking your way to go about it. You still have to do the exact same things over and over and over again. And so, and there's really there's no way to take those little side modes or anything and change it up by like giving it a multiplier or making it to where it's easier to finish or more difficult, you know? So, I mean, in that regard, if they did something about that, then yeah, maybe they could pull a little bit more juice out of that game and get people to come back to it more and more. But yeah,
Well,
other than that,
go
I mean,
ahead.
I would say they
Yeah.
got it to the people that wanted to buy it though.
Yep.
You know, I mean, because they had killer sales on day one. And
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
sure, there's some showing up on Pinside and everything, but I mean, hell, they sold so many. Of course, there's going to be games showing up on third-party markets. So, but they made the money that they needed to make. What was it, like $30 million
Oh yeah.
that they sold in revenue or whatever it was that they said? So, I mean, yeah, in that regard, it's doing well.
Go ahead, Craig.
I did think the upper left screen on there, I thought the criticism of that iPad, as people are calling it, is accurate. I do think it's a bit of a waste. I don't think for what it is they use that to their to its potential. And hopefully maybe that can change a little bit with code. Like as an example, that Tiki multi-ball hardly does, or the Tiki pinball that they
Yep.
so proudly talked about in the trailer. You can't even really play a full game on the thing. It gets to a point and it just basically times out, and you don't have to do a thing with it. It just goes through the pop bumpers. It's bouncing around. You wait till it gets to the flipper. Half the time it never does, and for some reason then it stops and you're back into the real pinball machine, which I sort of was like, okay, so why did they go to the trouble of putting that in there? So I thought it was a bit of a waste and a bit of they took a big chance with that. I think it was a miss personally, design wise. I would have rather seen do an upper playfield up there or something a little more interesting, versus just an electronic screen there. The other thing that I was surprised about is I still don't feel like, for a company that uses a camera in their back box, the quality of the pictures of that they take of players playing is horrible, considering where we are in the world today with cameras. And I get that they're probably an expensive component. I'd rather have them not even have one in, basically, than to throw something like that up. I just think it's not good when they take a picture of people. It's very gimmicky, and I feel like the picture looks gimmicky. And so I'm like, why are they, why bother going to that effort? I don't know why they don't put a higher res camera in there, and it would be actually really cool. But the fact that they don't, it's like, it's just very washed out. I feel like all the photos that they take of you playing the game, it could be way better. Like, I love the idea. The implementation is not good.
Well, Craig, have you seen the character that's right by the camera too?
It's Forky. It's Forky.
Yeah, it's literally Forky staring right back at you.
And
it's petrifying.
What's funny though is they have a spot. They have like a little LED behind the graphic of Forky, so when he talks, it actually blinks. I mean, it's a cool thing. But I get what you're saying.
No, it's terrifying, Joel.
I
Don't
know
say
you
it's
hate
cool.
Forky.
It's terrifying.
I like the Forky combo was cool. To me, there's a lot. I like the layout. It's very forgiving. It's very clear. They have a theme that is super approachable to so many ages. They made a game that's super approachable to so many ages. It's just, unfortunately, it doesn't make sense in my collection.
It's unfortunate the price point.
But there's so many people on Pinside that are like, my grandkids are going to love it. And they're right. Your grandkids are going to love it. I mean, but
I will say this, is the price point that unfortunate if they sold as many as they did at the beginning and made the money that they made?
It's unfortunate for me and my wallet. I can't justify spending that just for a game for my friends and family. Like my brother, who's okay at pinball, he streamed it with me a few times and he's like, I can't, like he's like, I don't want to stream that game again because the audio just wore him out over 2 hours. And just the grind of some of those modes, it's
a little much. It's a little much.
So
George,
if they can fix
you should
the
be
audio,
happy you couldn't hear the audio too much.
Couldn't hear it at all.
If you could fix the audio, if they could improve some of the audio and just give a little more life to some of the modes, and
it would go a long way.
It could go a long way.
A lot.
And Joe Cats did that with Wonka, so maybe, but I can't.
Yeah.
I can't just.
I mean, it definitely has a slot machine type audio vibe about it. So you do feel like, which I don't necessarily mind. It's I think that's one of Jersey Jack's sort of calling cards, is that their machines do sound different, and I don't mind it. But if that annoys you, don't play this game, because it's very slot machiney.
One of the best audio packages I've ever heard on a pinball machine was Hobbit. So it's like they can do a killer audio package. They just didn't. They didn't do it with Toy Story. But well, we are late, or we've hit our midnight. Is there anything else? Any other games or any other Expo things that real quick that are worth sharing? Go ahead, George.
You got Pinball Olympics.
Got to do it.
You got the tournament that happened. There's also the top. Did we skip the Mandalorian topper?
Yes, we did. God, there's so much to talk
about. Because our producer is just horrible at this.
The producer. So.
Oh, and flipping the script on autism.
God, there's so much we didn't do. We could talk another hour easily. Let's just do real fast. So I'll do real fast. I'll do Mando Topper real fast. George do flipping script real fast. Travis do tournament real fast. And Craig, what was the other topic that we didn't?
Don't say anything.
Pinball Olympics. Okay. So like 2 minutes, real quick. So my real quick thoughts about Mando Topper. I think it looks awesome. I understand that it's 2K. 2K is a ton of money, but if you compare it to other like the Elvira Topper was $1,000 and it was just this. That's all it was. So 2K, it's absurd, but compare it to the Star Wars R2-D2 Topper. There's licensing fees caught in there. It's just at least there's a lot there in the Topper. I think it's pretty cool. There's a lot of functionality in there. I don't know. It's just, I don't own Mando, so I'm not tempted at all to buy it. Yeah, so that's Mando. What I will say is I am getting a Godzilla. I obviously own the Deadpool topper. I want to get the Godzilla topper. What scares me though is if this is $2,000 for this, what are they going to charge for Godzilla? Because if Godzilla's cheap, if they make Godzilla like a $600 topper, they're going to sell so many of them that I don't know how Stern's going to keep up. So I feel like Stern is going to purposely make the Godzilla topper pricey just to try to keep the demand in check. And that's what I'm worried about. So any real quick rebuttals or comments about that? What my thoughts are, at least, on the Godzilla topper? Or the
You're
Mando
gonna buy
topper?
it.
I will buy
buy it.
Godzilla. I will want to buy Godzilla topper, but I don't want to spend $1,500 for it or $2,000. Like I don't want that.
You'll spend 3,000 on it,
God,
and you'll
okay.
like it.
All right.
But
Anybody
say
other than
free.
Travis? Anybody other than Travis have a comment about Mando topper? George, you still have a Mando or no? You still have a Mando.
I do not have a Mando. I've been wanting to get a Mando Premium, and I will absolutely get that topper.
It's
It is
beautiful.
the first time a topper is at least comparable, if not better, than Black Knight.
It's beautiful. It's
Mhm.
it is. There was a lot of this. There was a lot of talk
Yep.
about what there. You could already somebody had plugged in the HDMI cable. We knew there were video assets. We knew there was this potential hologram, and I think it hit or exceeded all expectations of the topper. I think it looks really
Yep.
cool, and we'll have to see. Pinball for Jeff. I'm not a
So-
profile. It's my second. Yeah, it's an amazing topper. If the thing was $1,000, I don't think anybody would complain. But the fact that it's 2,000,
Joel,
Wow.
people are.
Joel, I'll tell you this: it's underpriced at 2,000. I
'Cause
know
you
a
guys
lot of
sold
people.
out, yeah.
I'm telling you, I know a lot of people see it and they're like, "Oh my god, $2,000!" But there's a lot of Star Wars fans out there, and
Yeah.
these toppers, they're going quick, very quick.
Yep.
So I had a chance to talk with Dwight a little bit. I don't know if anyone else did at the show, but I actually, believe it or not, we drove him, Amanda Hamilton, Mike, drove him back from the Pinball Olympics. And so we got to chat with him for a good 45
Wait,
minutes.
Dwight went to Pinball Olympics?
Yeah, he was there.
That's
He
awesome.
he plays pinball, Joel.
Yeah, but like Pinball
Yeah.
Olympics is such a unique thing, and you're
First
going to talk
time
about it.
yeah.
But
Well,
that's
he
awesome.
heard so
I
much
bet he
about
loved
it.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, no, he had a lot of fun.
Okay.
So, but he talked about it, and I asked him, do you guys get to design the toppers? Is it somebody else there at Stern that's designing them for the games that you're involved with? And he said no. They, the designers generally are asked if they'd like to design the topper for it. They don't have to, but they are definitely asked if they'd like to. And so we were asking him, how come it took so long? How come, you can tell he's very proud of it, and it shows the level of, Dwight puts a ton of effort into his code and everything that he does, and I think it shows in this topper. The reason for the delays, whereas the licensor and all the problems that or the type of licensor that Disney is, it takes a lot of time for stuff to get approved over there. And just to talk about licensors in general, there was a ton of talk at Expo about what a disaster, I shouldn't say disaster, but what a challenge it was for Stern to work with the Bond licensors. And I don't want to say people were using it as an excuse for all the problems they've been having, but I think it was a big part of why there has been so many problems with the reveal of Bond. It's because of the licensing. And I think, we kind of assume, and Stern's been so good for so long at kicking these things out, that when they are thrown a bit of a curveball with a licensor that's more of a challenge, I think this is the result, right? And it's why these things are taking a long time, some of them, to come out, because dealing with a licensor like Disney, it's a dream theme, but they are extremely picky, and they will take a long time sometimes, I think, to approve product that you're trying to release, because they want to look at everything and they want to make sure it's just the way they want it, right? So but anyway, I think it's worth the wait. To everyone's point, it looks as good as it
incredible.
does in this video. It looks amazing. in
And
person as
Travis,
well.
you're 100% right. If they would have charged $2,500 or $3,000 or more, people would buy it. I get it, because it really is awesome. But as somebody who I know wants to buy a topper for a game soon, I hope that Stern isn't just continuing to go up that path. But it
looks good.
Well, Craig, go ahead and continue with that. So
Pinball
Olympics.
Pinball Olympics.
Yes.
It was everything that you said it was going to be, Joel, and more.
It's
it was
so good.
absolutely hilarious. It was a ton of fun. I definitely say it was one of the highlights of Expo. Again, because it is quite a unique experience. They do a really good job organizing this, considering there must have been 150 to 200, maybe it was even more people. Uh-oh, Travis is raising his hand.
What
What's
do you want,
Travis saying?
Travis?
Craig, can you tell
Yeah.
us about the Paragon game,
We're
please?
just watch the video. Just keep going, Craig.
Whoa, you better be careful, Joel. Have you seen this video yet?
Yes, I saw. Xenon was nothing compared to Paragon.
If you get the Paragon, this stream's going to get shut down. I'm telling you right now.
We'll skip right through it.
So
we're gonna act naive.
they do, yeah. So they do.
Paragon with
Yes,
Elmo.
there are.
Yes.
It is definitely, I would say, skewing onto the adult side. This is
Paradong.
not an event I think that's great for kids, just because some of the themes are quite adult.
It's so good, though.
But it is
It's
so fun,
so much
and
fun.
it's very over the top. They put a ton of time taking known titles and making them extremely challenging to play, but in a very fun and unique way.
These were on, right? Metallica?
Yeah, the dueling Metallicas, right? Which is really cool. They set it up so if you hit a certain shot, if you spell fuel, you tilt out the other person.
Oh, God,
It was
so
just
great.
very, very fun and unique. And there's tons of alcohol there if you like drinking.
And
the food is
tacos.
fantastic. So and just the way they did it, like I thought it was going to be a lot more challenging to get through and play these games, but it's like you sign in and then they're like, all right, you can just start playing. You're like, what do you mean? Yep, just start playing. There's rules on every game and you just start playing, and so you're rarely waiting to play a game as well, because there's so many games, frankly, that it's not hard to find one that's not occupied. And you just start having fun, and you generally are playing in groups of 4, which also makes things go a little bit quicker. There's Jordan and Becca. So they just have lots of wacky things like this that are super fun to play.
This is Jordan. So this is a shirt you can buy on Silverball Swag, and you can do custom DMDs.
Yeah.
George has one. It says it was when he got 1,000 followers. Jordan, what's funny is I make them. I personally make each one. So somebody requests what they want on it, and then I make it. His initials are ASS, ASS, and his score is 420-69-666. That's what's on that shirt, and I just think it's hilarious to actually see him wear it.
And his hat was hysterical as well. It was it was King of Piss Shit Mountain, which is so wacky, and it's just, anyway, if you know Jordan, it's I just thought it was hilarious.
Was that
between him and Becca,
or was that Becca or Scott Denisi?
That was Becca dressed up as
Scott Denisi.
Okay.
It was like scary how you could, if you look quickly, you'd think that Becca was Scott Denisi. It was great.
But everybody
like
that's watching
seeing a
chat,
stunt double.
If you go to Pinball Expo, do everything you can to buy a ticket to this. It's so fun. It's so unique. Like Travis, I feel bad. Oh, Travis is gone, so never mind. Black screen again.
Yeah,
but
very well organized. The food is unbelievable. They make tacos
this
from
right
scratch
here. You can just guess.
Tacos.
You're gonna see this for.
So
I'm gonna.
good.
There you go. You see what we're doing to Elmo there. Yep. All right. So it is in.
Oh, did I miss it?
Oh, you did.
You can't help but laugh when you go to this
It's
event.
so
like
good.
I just never stop laughing.
There's
It was so hilarious.
So there's a switch in here that you're pushing your finger in for Xenon. Where's the link for YouTube?
I'm gonna skip Expo tournament next year just so I could go play in this.
You should genuinely. I know you
I'm going to
go with Monica.
I'm telling you right now, I'm going to. I'm not going to play in the Expo tournament next year.
It's an all afternoon thing, but it's so awesome. Like, it is genuinely so awesome.
This room is like you're spinning. There's dry ice and smoke. There's lasers. I mean, it's blinding. It is hilarious.
So good.
There was another one where you get basically put in a booth, essentially, where they're flailing bingo type balls.
Yep.
That's
like
being driven by a fan, and they're raining. Yeah, wind tunnel is raining down on you and you wear a hard hat and goggles as you're trying to play one of the games. I can't remember which one, but so just tons of fun stuff. They did one. Yes, it was Kiss.
Yep.
You're absolutely right, Joel. And there was one where you were trying to play pinball on a treadmill. Here it is, Treadmill Madness.
What's
right?
that? Wait,
and they
what was
cranked
that?
it. George
What do you mean?
George
You're
ran on it.
literally
Didn't you,
running on a
George?
treadmill while you're
Yeah.
playing Junkyard.
Craig, no, what was that before? Before
alcohol?
the runner. Did they have a bartender there?
Yes,
Oh
there.
yeah,
There
it's
was
an
a.
open bar.
It's
Why
open.
why am I even playing in the
It's
tournament?
all you
No.
can eat tacos.
Teolis,
It's
I'm going there
all you
for
can-
sure.
Yes, all you can eat tacos. All you can
All you can
drink.
eat tacos? Are you
It's-
serious?
I'm
They are
telling you.
amazing.
What am I doing with my life?
Okay.
This is
Alright.
It was
like
I'm going there
unbelievable.
next year.
all of
I'll play in the
chat,
classics,
all
it's
of
fine.
chat, or all of YouTube, whoever's watching this, like this. If you can only go to Expo one day, you go on Saturday. You literally sleep in. You go to this all day, and then you experience the show in the evenings. It's so good. Pinball
So
Olympics.
how much is it for a
like
ticket?
$50.
It's
or
$100.
something. Oh,
100.
they
100?
went up.
Yeah.
Okay, when last year it was
It's-
like
yeah.
60, but it's well worth it. Well,
You
Worth
said
it's
it was
100.
you said it was 60 last year.
I think like it was.
so
it
why
was,
why would it be 50 this year? What are you talking
it's
about,
100.
Joel?
It's 100.
Well, yeah, I thought
It's
you said
100.
it was 50 a second ago.
It was.
It's 50. It's 50 up front. You
Yeah,
pay for your,
see, he
you pay
knows.
for your
He knows.
ticket, and
We
then
caught him,
50 when you
George.
get to the
We caught
door.
him.
No, it was.
Okay, perfect.
It was
All you
there's-
can eat tacos. I'm down for that.
Shuttle was 35.
And then the shuttle was 35. That's right.
And
We'll have a
Teolis,
car.
Teolis, are you out there? We got to go to this.
And this is all. It's so much fun. And this dude right here, this is Banger J. This is his house. It's his house and a whole nother property.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Banger
and they're
J's
very.
right
The
there.
hosts are extremely
It's
generous.
so
Like
great.
they literally have 200 people descend on their place, and you can tell they've spent a ton of time.
Yeah.
Getting the game set up. They all played, well.
It's
It doesn't really matter because again, it's meant to handicap you based on all of the crazy things they're having you do and the way that we play them. But I just thought I wasn't sure what to expect. I knew it was going to be zany, but I was just very pleasantly surprised with even the organization and how open the hosts were to have so many people. It was just super cash, super chill, super fun. I'd do
It's
it in a
incredible.
second again. Is
Yeah.
very unique, just like Joel said.
Yep. I would. Yeah.
A
I
must
missed
do.
that. Must
So
do. Must
would
do.
you
Yeah.
three say that this is something that you wish would like people would have at all the big events like at TPF and places like that?
Yeah,
100%. But there's
Oh,
no
it'd be
way
good.
you can't.
I mean,
Like this guy,
Yeah.
he has a whole separate property that's 2 levels full of pinball machines. So it's one thing to
Right.
own all the games, but then the fact that they've gone one step further and modified like half of
Mhm.
them to
2 houses.
2 houses. Yes, modified like half of them to be completely unique. I just don't know who's going to commit to doing that at another. But sure, I mean, I would love for so many more people to have something like this. but
Somebody's
it's-
got to commit to putting
God, it's
dildos
so
on
good.
Paragon.
It's
Somebody
so
out there's
good,
got to
though.
do it. So yeah.
It's so good.
yeah.
But
It's I never stopped laughing when we got
it's-
there. Just to see people try and play the games and the amount of fun that people are having. You can't. I knew right when I walked in, I was like, "Oh God, this is going
It's
to be
so
good."
great.
I was so excited to start playing. It was a ton of fun.
So-
And then when the booze starts flowing and the tacos
Oh.
come out, it's like, oh, it takes
Yeah.
it to a whole new level.
So Travis, tell us how exhilarating and so much fun the tournament was.
It was tense in there.
So,
I
so
thought.
now I gotta talk about this after Pinball Olympics.
No, you
How do
can't
I even-
compete. You cannot
I
compete with
know.
pinball.
It
Olympics.
was
It is
tense.
so
What-
great.
what
do you
room.
what do you want me to say, Joel? Like I got my ass kicked by Zach McCarthy and by Jared August. I mean that was the end of it. Yeah.
Did
I
you?
tied Escher for 5th, so I did do that.
Was there free booze?
Kind of. I mean,
Tacos?
depending who you knew. Tacos? No, not necessarily, but you know.
Jared August
Jared-
owns you.
All right, so yeah. Oh yeah. So this was so ridiculous. All right. So here's what happened. I will tell everybody. This was like real quick. So we were in the top 6, and I was in the losers bracket against Jared. It was best of 3, and he got to pick first, and so he picks Avengers Pro. And so I'm like, okay, I have a fighting chance. I think I can put up $1 billion on this if I really, really try very hard. We can do this. We got it. He goes up there and he gets to $1 billion on ball 1, and he's still going. And I'm just like sitting there, and I already knew ahead of time if he got to 1.2 billion, I was going to tap him and just be like, look, we're done. Let's just go to the next game. So he starts like Iron Man multi-ball while he has right at $1 billion or closing in on it. And I'm just like, yeah, there's just no way. I'm not going to try to grind back, nothing. So I'm like, okay, Jared, you're good. You won this game. Let's go to the next game. So I pick Led Zeppelin Premium And I'm like, okay, we're going to play a game with a bunch of combos. We're going to take a giant tour. We're going to do all this stuff, right? He gets up on there and he proceeds to put up like 300 million on ball one. So I swear to God, he probably spent like 45 minutes on 2 games without actually draining a ball. And I'm just like, what am I even supposed to do here? So that's why it's like, that's how good of a player he is. Now, granted, the games were set up fairly easy for elite players, but my God, it's just like the ball would never drain for him at all. And it was just completely like, I just had to hope he just got bored and wanted to quit the tournament. But alas, he didn't do that. So,
Yeah.
you know,
So that
so
might
I end up
be
losing, you know.
why he's 4th in the world. In your
Yeah, it's crazy how
20.
much he's improved just in the past couple of years alone. Because he was already pretty good a couple of years ago, and now he's just he's like God tier level now. Between him and Zach McCarthy, I mean, it was just like, what do you even do? Like, I had no idea.
I mean, Carl figured it out. Carl played pretty well, right?
Here's what
He played decent. He played decent.
Here's what I noticed, not having really been around a big like high profile tournament before. I was really impressed with how they were running that tournament, and I thought it was way more open than I thought it would be to someone like myself who just wanted to kind of observe. I thought, oh, I can't get past a certain point without a ticket. I'm going to be told I got to leave if I'm not part of the tournament. And Travis was like, no, just come on in. Let's. And you could just, as long as you were being respectful and you were standing at a distance from the machines and you weren't, impeding anybody or bothering anybody, you could stand and observe. And I thought that was great that it was so open that you could do that. Like say I wanted to play in a tournament, but I didn't know what it was all about, whatever. I felt like for people that were just sort of waiting around, everybody was surprisingly open to chatting about what was happening. And I thought there was a lot of funny dialogue going around. People were just socializing as they were waiting to play their games. People that were playing were into it. There was no doubt, but I just thought it was way more inclusive compared to what I thought I was going to encounter there. And people were very welcoming to anybody that wanted to come take a look.
So what I've
which was
learned
awesome.
doing Triple Drain with Tom and Travis is tournament people are people too, and
They are people.
They are people. And shout out to Tom Graff. He streamed the whole thing. So anybody that had the chance to watch it. So
There were
Fox
some
6
unique
Pinball.
smells in that room, though, I must say. to the other, there were, I did encounter that. There was the tournament smell that was wafting through occasionally.
Travis,
That's just the crop dusting. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Fine. Good.
Travis, you played in the Classics tournament, I assume. What position?
I did
you
not
get?
because I know my limitations.
Okay.
I did not play classics. Actually, I
just-
showed up too late, and so I ended up finals. Just since I was playing that, I didn't get a buy, so I just had to keep playing.
Got it.
But
Well,
Mr. Teolis, though,
that's what we needed to say. Yep.
yeah, we
Yep.
need to talk about Jeff Teolis's games. Yeah, he played some games and he got a placing. I don't know where though. Jeff,
Way
where'd
to
you
go,
finish?
Jeff.
Well, it was higher than you, so that's
He was
yeah.
fourth. He finished
Did
Did
fourth.
he get
in
top
Classics.
4?
he was
Yeah.
He
in
did
the
get
photo.
top 4, didn't he?
Yeah.
Was
Yep.
he in the final? Did he get second
I don't know. He'll say it in chat.
to Bowden, or did he
Is
get
there-
third?
Before we lose our entire 4th. Yeah. So
Okay, I was close. We were close.
I'm surprised we haven't lost our entire audience, but I appreciate anything else you want to say about the tournament there, Travis?
You think we're going to lose the audience by talking tournament pinball, Joel?
Here's the deal.
You're a
On-
tournament player now. You took
On
89
Triple
thing.
Drain, on
You've
Triple
been
Drain, I
dominating
am
lately.
outnumbered. Okay, 2 top tier tournament players. I'm outnumbered. Tonight, this is the only time that I feel like you might be outnumbered. I know
Here's the
George
other thing.
streams or plays in tournaments, but it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling.
Here's the other
let's
thing.
just talk about precision flippers now, Joel.
I
Why
know,
not?
God,
we might
okay.
as well. This is the point where we do that.
Jeez.
Here's the other thing that I noticed about the tournament. There, Tom is the poor guy, and I know he loves doing this, so this is a compliment. The guy's running around like a chicken with his head cut off, moving rigs, making sure that everyone's fine in the booth, and he's trying to play in the pinball tournament and figure out and remember code and do all the stuff.
and everything.
The guy's like busier than a one-arm paper hanger in there, and so I'm amazed that all he tries to take on and participate in the tournament. God bless him.
Yep.
And he does it, I think for the most part with a smile on his face, although he wasn't having a good day the day that Travis and I went in there together and were watching. I felt bad, but that's just pinball, I think. And sometimes, the ball's rolling your way, and other days it's not. And just like anything. But I got to take my hat off to Tom because he was really doing a lot in those tournaments, and you don't appreciate it watching on stream, but it takes a lot of effort. They roll those rigs around like constantly. I felt like from one machine to another, and someone's got to do it, and it's either him or one of the players, and he's got to technically troubleshoot all the time and stuff. So he did a great job, I thought.
Well,
and all
yes,
that.
absolutely. God bless Tom Graff and
Yep.
everything he does. And speaking of underappreciated streamers, George Fisher, you streamed the entire flipping the script stream, 12 hours straight, raised $15,000. So first off,
More
George,
than that,
thank
25, dude.
25, yeah.
And had all the titans of pinball on
I
there
know.
too.
So
as
George,
well.
from a technical standpoint, you crushed it. So
It was unbelievable.
thank you for everything, making the video, all that. Well done, George. Big old pat on the back. But tell us about flipping the script. How was that for you? All those good things.
So this was Josh from Loser Kids, kind of baby starting 6 months ago. Great idea. Hit up a number of different people and lots of coordination and prep to help Learning Solutions achieve their goal of getting 31 kids fully tested and kind of walk through the initial part of the process. So the goal was to hit 25,000. And that was achieved with the help of so many different people and so many different manufacturers. But that was a number of different people on TPN, everyone here on the stream, Loser Kids, so Josh and Scott, Poor Men, a big shout out to Zach and Nicole, who were absolutely massive in being helpful. Jen, and there was probably, I'm forgetting a ton of people, but Amanda, was
Rachel.
Yeah,
exactly.
So many people.
Rachel was still,
from Poor Men. And then there's the people who actually came on the stream that day, which were awesome. We had Josh Sharp, Steve Bowden, Roger Sharp, Mark Silk at the end of the night, which was fantastic. Keith Elwin. Yeah, thank you. Please, Mark.
Mark's here. Mark's here in chat right
Yep.
there. Mark Silk. I love it. That's awesome, Mark. Thanks for doing it, man.
Yeah, Mark, that was fantastic. And trying to think of, I'm missing somebody. Oh my God, Dwight Sullivan. I got to interview Dwight Sullivan, and I geeked out, and we actually got the opportunity to chat a little bit about Harry Potter beforehand. Ended up talking about Star Wars instead of Harry Potter on stream, which was still amazing. But he is a massive Harry Potter fan, and I think writes some of the best, most enjoyable software out there. But as Zach points out, there's, you can be for moments or points. And I definitely appreciate the wizard modes and the moments and the things that you build up for a lot more than points, which also was, I think that's the way to go. But that's where I feel like Dwight Sullivan is really makes a massive impact, because it seems like that's the kind of stuff he ends up developing for, and yeah, I got to bug him with tons of questions, and get to ask all of them. And he hit me up afterwards. He came by and he's like, George, when you're ready for more questions, because I know you had more, let me know. So he's just such a cool guy.
So great. Dwight is and
really nice guy.
All of that, if you go to Pinball Network on YouTube, you can literally watch the entire stream. It's all on there. I've rewatched a good bit of it because obviously I wasn't there, but it just to see the interviews, like the interviews of the different people it was fantastic. Yeah. So, not to
it
mention,
was a ton of fun to be a part of. I again, hats off to George, because technically the show went off, I felt like pretty much without a hitch, which is shocking considering we were on literally for 12 hours straight, and every single person streaming and everyone that was on the stream, like all the guests, were interacting like they were old friends, and we're having a grand old time. The hour and a half that I spent with Eric Minier went by like nothing. I was terrified that it was going to be You know, I'd never met Eric before. I didn't know if if how he was going to react to some of my questions. And the guy was super personable, as were all the guests on the show, frankly. And I just thought it was a real testament to, again, the community and how well the community came together, the donations that the community was providing as well during the or during the stream was crazy, and fantastic. And it was just a ton of, I was super pumped at the end of my hour and a half after chatting with Eric. I felt like, you know, I made a friend in Eric Minier, and I didn't think I would feel that way at the end of that going into this. I was just praying to God I didn't, that there wasn't a lot of dead air, you know. We were scrambling, and it wasn't like that for anybody, you know, let alone my part of it. So it was just a ton of fun, and George again was a huge part of that. He made it super easy, with the way he had it technically set up, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So well done. I mean, a ton of people involved. A huge shout out to Scott and Josh with Loser Kid for really spearheading it. And then George, you had a huge part in it. So as a viewer, as a participant, there was a little bit that I did, but really as just somebody that was able to observe it and watch, I mean, it's really enjoyable, and not to mention a great cause. So
Are you going to go next year, Joel?
Yeah,
or are you going to go on vacation again?
It wasn't my fault. Okay.
Damn it, Joel.
I know. It wasn't my fault, but well, that's it. I think that's it. Sorry. I don't know if anybody
we
had
covered
anywhere.
a lot of ground.
Yeah.
There.
If anybody had somewhere they needed to be 37 minutes ago, I apologize. Yes, I hope that was a decent Expo recap. And if you're watching this after the fact, normally we do these chatting streams every other Wednesday from 10 to midnight. So real quick, let's do some plugs. George, plug away, man.
My name is George Fisher. I normally stream on the channel Don't Panic Flip on Twitch. That's on Mondays and Tuesdays. And then I'm on this channel, TPN, on Thursdays late at night. And I typically play games around here, occasionally go on location, occasionally do fun things like Expo and flipping the script, and always looking to have a good time, have some drinks. And if you're interested, hit me up, email, website, check out TPN. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Yeah, no, thanks, George, for being here. Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Travis, you can go ahead.
My name is Travis. I do a podcast with Tom Graff called Triple Drain Pinball Podcast, and you guys can check it out on the TPN network.
It's just the two of you? That's cute. That's neat.
We sometimes let Joel talk too. He edits himself in, and he produces the show sometimes.
Triple Drain.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And Joel. Sorry, I forgot about Joel.
Yeah.
Joel is there too.
And
yes.
I think you also forgot here, you can plug our Patreon if you want to
Ooh,
support us
look
on
at that.
Patreon. Patreon.com/triple_drain. Search us out.
Look at the different levels there.
I know.
Yeah.
See,
Handshake.
it's divisible by
Please keep
3.
donating
3,
so I can
6,
get my free
9.
merch and Tom can get his LEs.
No,
and
you know what
Joel
people are.
can go on more vacations.
Yeah, that's what it
evidently.
went to. Yeah. Silverball swag. This is what we're currently paying off, which is the artist that we paid to design our recent Triple Drain stuff. But yeah, check it out. Look,
I
at this
did order one of
sick
those shirts, by the way, as well, and they are very good.
Yeah, this is
the one I ordered
exactly
right
the
there.
one that Craig. Look at that! Look at that art. It's awesome. Shout out to Jackson.
It's pretty
Gee.
cool. Yeah.
It's
Look
pretty
at this, Joel.
Blend
Look,
looks
even on
amazing.
Yeah,
that.
look on the
It
back.
looks-
Yeah, turn around. Travis's better side. Look at that. Look at that.
Sweet.
Sick.
That is sweet. You guys
Sick.
picked a great artist for that. Like,
Yeah.
it looks fantastic.
I like it. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good job, Jackson.
All right, Craig, plug away, man.
Greg Bobby with doing the top stories for the Pinball Show podcast with Zach Meny and Dennis Kriesel, and that airs on Mondays generally on the Pinball Network.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys being here. And
Thanks, Joel.
Should have used the No, nobody needs to see that. And yes, I'm Joel.
That is a great idea.
This is the Flippin' Out stream. I will actually be streaming tomorrow night on the Flippin' Out channel, the dedicated channel. So feel free to check that out. And then, yeah, Triple Drain. It's a good time with Tom, especially. Feel free to check that out. Patreon as well. Travis is there. And then Silverball swag. You can check all that out. But otherwise, all the TPN people are good, fun stuff. So we are going to go ahead and start a raid here. Let's see how long this takes. We're gonna raid Vinny Blanc. He's just got a Godzilla. I know he's pumped to play that. And this is where I really need to work on my timing because, as you know, George, the raid here takes like a minute and a half. So, yeah.
You have to wait for it to time out. Yeah, it's a struggle.
OBF, there's a lot of cool t-shirt designs. Pinmonk, I know you have plenty. If we were going to make... First off, it's the quote. This is the quote. George, I don't think you've heard this quote. Tex, I took a picture of it. It's the best thing that I think I've ever seen here. Here we go. This was a quote that somebody wrote on my stream, and it was... I was told watching TPN would make me feel better about my skills. Kind of like watching people of Walmart improves one's self-image. That was the and that was the quote. And I was like, I have to stop. I have to take a picture of this quote because that's the best thing I think anybody's ever written in my chat. So if there was ever to be a t-shirt, I think that would be it. With
That's so awesome.
OBF on brand finale on the back.
Great.
Yeah,
Feel better about playing pinball, about your skills playing pinball.
Do you think you suck at pinball? If so, watch Joel on the Flippin' Out stream and you will change your mind. Yes, that's... Do you want to see
For
the first...
record, I did not say that,
Travis,
everybody. I didn't say that.
Do you want to see the
wasn't me.
first 10% of a code set over and over and over again? Boom! Watch Joel on and the raid just happened. So hey, if anybody's still here, go check out the raid. Otherwise, if anybody's watching this after the fact, yeah, follow us live. And
George, your shirt is on point.
Yeah,
You like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what's that brand?
I was
Okay,
trying
we're gonna shut it
I was
down.
trying to bring it up, but Joel just kept on talking.
we're
so I
gonna
couldn't
shut
bring
it
up.
down here. Hey.